Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight we'll be following the gentle flow of rivers, those timeless waterways that have shaped our world since the beginning of time. Rivers are veins of life coursing through the landscape, carrying stories, nutrients, and the whispers of ancient rains. They carve canyons, nourish forests, and connect mountains to seas. Some rivers rage with power, others meander peacefully through meadows, but all of them remind us of movement, of change, of the eternal journey from high places to the ocean. If you enjoy these quiet explorations, I invite you to like and subscribe, or share a simple thought down in the comments. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, all you need to do is rest, settle in, and allow the calm of flowing water to carry you. Let's begin. River geology and time rivers are older than mountains in many landscapes. It seems counterintuitive, but some rivers are actually older than the mountains they flow through. This happens through a process called superposition. A river establishes its course across a relatively flat landscape. Then, over millions of years, tectonic forces slowly push the land upward, creating mountains. But the river, already in place, cuts downward as fast as the land rises, maintaining its course. The result is a river that appears to defy logic, flowing through a mountain range rather than around it. The Green River, cutting through the Uinta Mountains in Utah, is one example. The river was there first, flowing across ancient sediments. As the mountains rose, the river kept pace, soaring through them. These antecedent rivers reveal deep time, showing us processes that take millions of years. They remind us that landscapes are not static, but constantly changing, and that rivers are powerful agents in that change. What looks permanent, a mountain range, is actually temporary on geological timescales. What looks ephemeral, flowing water, can outlast stone. Bedrock rivers cut through solid stone grain by grain. In some places, rivers flow directly on bedrock, with little or no sediment covering the bottom. These bedrock rivers are powerful sculptors. The process of cutting through solid rock is slow but inexorable. Water alone doesn't do much, but water carrying sand and gravel acts like liquid sandpaper. Each particle that tumbles along the riverbed acts as a cutting tool, abrading the rock surface. Swirling currents create potholes, circular depressions ground into the bedrock by stones trapped in eddies, spinning like drill bits. Over thousands of years, these potholes can be several feet deep. During floods, the erosive power multiplies. Boulders that normally sit still are moved, grinding against bedrock, and the river can cut downward significantly in a single event. The different hardness of rock layers creates steps and falls where harder layers resist erosion. Softer layers erode faster, creating a stair-step profile. Bedrock rivers are living geology, places where you can watch the slow work of erosion happening, where the power of water over stone is made visible. Alluvial rivers constantly rework their own sediment. Most lowland rivers flow through their own deposits, material they've carried and laid down over centuries. These alluvial rivers are dynamic, constantly reworking sediment. During high flows, they pick up material and carry it downstream. During low flows, they deposit it. The result is a riverbed that's always changing. Sandbars appear and disappear. Channels shift from year to year. The river is literally made of the materials it transports, a mobile landscape of its own creation. This constant reworking creates habitat diversity. Gravel bars provide nesting sites for plovers and terns. Sandbars are nurseries for willows and cottonwoods. Deep pools scoured during floods become fish habitat. The dynamism that seems chaotic is actually essential for ecosystem health. Trying to stabilize alluvial rivers, fixing them in place with revetments and channelization, eliminates this natural dynamism and simplifies habitat. Understanding that alluvial rivers need to move, need space to shift and change, is key to managing them sustainably. It means giving them room, accepting that riverbanks will erode in some places while building in others, and designing human infrastructure to accommodate rather than fight natural processes. River terraces record ancient floodplains now high above water. When walking in river valleys, you sometimes notice flat benches rising above the current floodplain. These are river terraces, remnants of old floodplains. They formed when the river flowed at that higher level, depositing sediment and creating a flat surface. Then, through some combination of increased erosion, decreased sediment supply, or tectonic uplift, the river cut downward, abandoning the old floodplain and creating a new one at a lower level. The old surface remains as a terrace, a fossil landscape marking where the river used to be. Multiple terraces at different elevations record the river's history, each level representing a period of stability followed by downcutting. Archaeologists love terraces because they're relatively flat, well-drained, and safe from floods, making them attractive settlement sites. Ancient communities often lived on terraces, leaving artifacts that can be dated, which in turn helps date the terraces themselves. Studying river terraces reveals the interplay between climate, tectonics, and erosion over hundreds of thousands of years. They're pages in the river's biography, showing where it's been and hinting at where it might go. Glacial rivers carry rock flour that colors water turquoise. Rivers fed by glaciers have a distinctive appearance. Many are milky turquoise or blue-green, colors so vivid they seem artificial. This coloration comes from glacial flour, extremely fine sediment created by glaciers grinding. Over bedrock, the rock is pulverized into particles so small they remain suspended in water, giving it an opaque, milky appearance. These fine particles scatter light in ways that produce the characteristic turquoise color, similar to how particles in the atmosphere make the sky blue. Glacial rivers are typically cold, just above freezing, and carry heavy sediment loads. The combination of cold temperature and high turbidity limits biological productivity. Fewer algae, fewer insects, fewer fish than in clear streams. But they're geologically fascinating, transporting enormous volumes of material. When glacial rivers reach the ocean, they deposit sediment in vast deltas. In fjords, the glacial flour settles out in still water, creating layers of clay that record each year's melt season. As glaciers retreat due to climate change, some glacial rivers are transforming, their distinctive milky color fading as the source of rock flour diminishes. This visual change is one of the most obvious signs of glacier loss. Limestone caves reveal underground river systems. In karst regions where limestone bedrock is slowly dissolved by acidic groundwater, extensive cave systems form. Many contain underground rivers, sometimes flowing for miles beneath the surface. These subterranean rivers are mysterious and beautiful. In darkness, they carve passages through rock, creating chambers and tunnels. Where the water table drops, passages drain, leaving dry caves with evidence of past flow, smoothed walls, scalloped ceilings, and rounded cobbles carried by ancient currents. Exploring these caves requires specialized techniques and carries risks, but reveals hidden hydrology. Dye traces show how water enters cave systems and where it emerges downstream at springs, mapping invisible connections. Cave rivers support unique ecosystems. In the perpetual darkness, specialized species have evolved, many blind and colorless, having lost features unnecessary without light. Cave fish, salamanders, and invertebrates navigate by touch and chemical senses. Some caves have blind crayfish that are found nowhere else, ancient relics isolated underground for millions of years. These subterranean rivers remind us that surface rivers are only part of the story, that vast amounts of water flow through the earth itself, shaping landscapes from within. Rivers around the world. The Amazon River basin holds 1/5 of Earth's flowing fresh water. The Amazon is not just a river, but an entire water system of staggering scale. Its basin covers 2.7 million square miles, nearly the size of Australia. Over 1,100 tributaries feed it, 17 of which are over 1,000 miles long themselves. The water discharged into the Atlantic, about 209,000 cubic meters per second on average, is more than the next 7 largest rivers combined. During the wet season, the river can rise over 30 feet, flooding vast areas of rainforest. This seasonal flood pulse is essential to the ecosystem. Fish swimming into the forest to feed on fruits and seeds, then returning to the main channel. The Amazon is relatively young geologically, only about 10 million years old in its current form. It once flowed westward into the Pacific, but when the Andes rose, the flow reversed, creating the modern river flowing east. The biodiversity is unmatched, with more species of fish than in the entire Atlantic Ocean. Many remain undiscovered. The river also influences global climate. The moisture it releases creates clouds that export rainfall across South America and even to other continents. The Amazon is not just a regional feature, but a planetary system. The Nile's length has been debated for centuries. For a long time, the Nile was considered the world's longest river, stretching about 4,132 miles from its remotest source in the mountains of Burundi to the Mediterranean Sea. But measuring river length is surprisingly complex. Which source do you start from? The White Nile or Blue Nile? Where exactly is the most distant spring? Modern satellite mapping has complicated the picture, with some measurements suggesting the Amazon might be slightly longer, depending on which tributary you count as its source. But regardless of which is longest, the Nile is extraordinary. It flows northward through desert, an impossible oasis cutting across the Sahara. Without it, Egypt would be uninhabitable. The river's 2 main branches, the White Nile flowing from Lake Victoria and the Blue Nile from the Ethiopian highlands, meet at Khartoum in Sudan. The Blue Nile provides most of the water and all the sediment during its summer floods, fed by monsoon rains in Ethiopia. This predictable flooding made Egyptian agriculture possible for thousands of years. Today, the Aswan High Dam regulates flow, eliminating floods, but also stopping the sediment that replenished fields. The Nile Basin is shared by 11 countries, creating complex water politics as nations upstream develop projects that affect flow downstream. The Danube flows through more countries than any other river. The Danube rises in Germany's Black Forest and flows nearly 1,800 miles eastward through Central and Eastern Europe before emptying into the Black Sea. Along the way, it passes through or borders 10 countries, more than any other river, and its basin includes territory from 19 nations. This makes the Danube a truly international river, requiring extensive cooperation for management. The river has been a corridor for trade, migration, and conquest since prehistoric times. Romans fortified its banks, making it the northern frontier of their empire. Medieval kingdoms rose and fell along its shores. Today, it remains economically vital, with major cities like Vienna, Budapest, and Belgrade along its banks. The Danube is navigable for much of its length, with locks and canals extending its reach. Culturally, it's celebrated in music, most famously Strauss's Blue Danube Waltz, though the river's actual color is usually murky brown. The river faces modern challenges: pollution from agriculture and industry, habitat loss from development, and disrupted sediment transport from dams. But international cooperation through the International Commission for the Protection of the Danube River works to address these issues, making the Danube a model for transboundary water management. The Mekong sustains one of the world's most productive fisheries. Flowing nearly 3,000 miles from the Tibetan Plateau through China, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam, the Mekong is Southeast Asia's lifeblood. Its fishery is second only to the Amazon, providing protein for millions. The river's productivity comes from its huge seasonal variation. During monsoon season, it swells dramatically, backing up into Cambodia's Tonle Sap Lake, causing it to expand from about 1,000 square miles to over 6,000 square miles. This flooded forest becomes a giant nursery, fish breeding and growing rapidly. When waters recede in the dry season, fish follow the draining flow back to the river, and the Tonle Sap reverses direction, one of the world's only rivers that flows backward seasonally. This pulse of water and life has sustained cultures for millennia. The river is also incredibly biodiverse, home to giant catfish weighing over 600 pounds, Irrawaddy dolphins, and countless other species. But the Mekong faces threats. Dams in China and planned dams in lower countries will disrupt flows and sediment transport. Overfishing depletes stocks. Climate change alters monsoon patterns. Balancing development needs with ecosystem health is the great challenge for Mekong nations. The Volga is Europe's longest river and Russia's mother river. At about 2,300 miles, the Volga is Europe's longest river, though entirely within Russia. It rises northwest of Moscow and flows generally south and east to the Caspian Sea. The Volga has always been central to Russian identity, celebrated in literature, music, and folklore as Mother Volga. It served as a crucial trade route, connecting Moscow to the Caspian and onward to Persia and Central Asia. The river supported the rise of important cities: Yaroslavl, Nizhny, Novgorod, Kazan, Volgograd. During World War II, the Battle of Stalingrad, now Volgograd, on the Volga's banks was one of history's bloodiest battles, a turning point in the war. Today, the Volga is heavily developed, with multiple large dams and reservoirs turning much of it into a series of long, narrow lakes. These provide hydroelectric power and enable navigation, but have drastically altered the river's ecology. The sturgeon populations that once made the Caspian famous for caviar have collapsed, unable to migrate upstream past the dams. Pollution from agriculture and industry degrades water quality. Despite these problems, the Volga remains vital, providing water for 40% of Russia's population and much of its industry and agriculture. The Congo's rapids hold massive hydroelectric potential. The Congo River in Central Africa is remarkable in many ways. It's the deepest river in the world, exceeding 700 feet in some spots. It's the second largest by discharge, after the Amazon, pouring about 1.4 million cubic feet per second into the Atlantic. Unlike most great rivers, it has no true delta, instead exiting through a deep submarine canyon. The river's most notable feature is its succession of rapids and cataracts near its mouth. Over about 200 miles, the river drops nearly 900 feet, tumbling through 32 cataracts, known as Livingston Falls. This section is unnavigable, cutting off the river's upper reaches from the ocean. But these rapids represent enormous energy, and plans exist to harness it. The proposed Grand Inga Dam would be the world's largest hydroelectric project, potentially generating more power than any other facility. It could transform African development, providing clean electricity to much of the continent. But the project is controversial, requiring massive investment, displacing communities, and potentially causing significant environmental damage. The Congo Basin contains the world's second largest rainforest after the Amazon, and major development could affect this crucial ecosystem. The tension between energy needs and environmental protection plays out along the Congo's powerful currents, river ceremonies and traditions. Many cultures practice river baptisms and blessings. Water has always held spiritual significance, and rivers as flowing, living water are particularly powerful in religious ceremonies. Christian baptism, representing spiritual rebirth, often takes place in rivers. John the Baptist performed baptisms in the Jordan River, and that tradition continues today, with pilgrims traveling to be baptized in the same waters. In Hinduism, rivers, especially the Ganges, are sacred. Hindus bathe in the river to purify themselves, bring ashes of deceased loved ones to scatter in the waters, and celebrate festivals along its banks. The Kumbh Mela, a mass pilgrimage to various river locations, is the largest religious gathering on Earth, attracting tens of millions. Other traditions include river offerings, flowers, food, candles set adrift as gifts to river spirits or gods. In Japan, some shrines perform misogi, purification rituals in cold river water. These practices reflect deep recognition of rivers' life-giving properties. Water cleanses physically and, in these traditions, spiritually. Rivers, constantly flowing, constantly renewing, become metaphors for spiritual transformation. These ceremonies connect practitioners to their faith, their community, and the natural world simultaneously. River festivals celebrate seasonal changes and cultural heritage. Around the world, communities celebrate rivers with festivals. Some mark seasonal changes, the arrival of spring floods, the end of monsoon rains, the freeze or thaw. Others celebrate river industries like fishing, with festivals featuring fresh catch, boat parades, and competitions. Dragon boat festivals in China, originating over 2,000 years ago, feature teams racing long, decorated boats, commemorating the poet Ku Yuan, who drowned himself in a river. The festival has spread globally, with dragon boat racing now popular worldwide. In India, Ganges Dussehra celebrates the day the river descended from heaven. In Thailand, Loy Krathong involves floating decorated baskets with candles and incense on rivers, giving thanks to the water goddess. These festivals serve multiple purposes. They're fun, bringing communities together. They're educational, teaching younger generations about river importance. And they're expressions of gratitude, acknowledging dependence on rivers. In modern times, festivals increasingly include environmental components, cleanup efforts, educational booths, and fundraising for conservation. They blend celebration with stewardship, honoring rivers while committing to protect them. Some communities celebrate when rivers first freeze or thaw. In northern regions, where rivers freeze solid, the freeze and thaw are significant events marking seasonal transitions. The freeze means winter's arrival, and rivers become highways for ice travel. Some communities hold festivals when ice is thick enough to be safe, with ice fishing contests, snowmobile races, and celebrations on the frozen river. The spring thaw is even more dramatic, signaling winter's end and new possibilities. Ice-out dates are recorded and bet on, with pools predicting the exact moment the ice will break up. When it happens, it's spectacular, with cracking, grinding ice, and surging water. Communities gather to watch, celebrating spring's return. These traditions reflect deep connection between people and place, where river conditions directly affect daily life. In an era when many people are disconnected from natural cycles, these river-centered celebrations maintain awareness of seasonal rhythms. They're also practical, marking when travel routes change, when fishing resumes, when flooding might threaten. The river's state determines community activities, and celebrations acknowledge this dependence while building social cohesion around shared experiences. River weddings and memorials mark life's important moments. Rivers provide beautiful, meaningful settings for life's ceremonies. Weddings along riverbanks, with water flowing past as vows are exchanged, symbolize life's journey and the joining of two streams. Some couples incorporate river water into ceremonies, washing hands or feet, or pouring water from two vessels into one. Memorial services at rivers are also common, particularly for those who loved the water. Ashes scattered on rivers allow loved ones to join the flow, continuing the journey toward the sea. Many find comfort in this, the river carrying the departed onward rather than static burial. Rivers also feature in coming-of-age ceremonies. First successful fish caught, first solo canoe trip, first swim across the river. These milestones mark growth and skill. The river becomes witness to personal development, a constant presence through changing life. For families who've lived along a particular river for generations, it's part of family identity. Their history intertwines with the rivers, births, weddings, deaths, all marked by its presence. The river is not just scenery, but participant, a living presence in the community's life. This depth of relationship, built over time and marked by ceremony, creates bonds that motivate conservation and care. River songs and stories passed down through generations. Every river culture has songs and stories. These oral traditions preserve knowledge, teaching about the river's moods and dangers, good fishing spots and safe crossings, floods and droughts of past years. Stories explain features, why a particular rock is shaped that way, why a bend is especially treacherous. Often these explanations involve spirits or ancestors, creating narratives that make the river come alive. Songs mark activities, work songs for paddling or hauling nets, lullabies referencing river sounds, celebration songs for good catches or safe returns. Children grow up hearing these, learning their heritage. The stories and songs create shared culture, common reference points that bind community members. They also transmit practical information, survival knowledge wrapped in memorable stories. In an era before writing, this oral tradition was essential, and even today it maintains cultural continuity. Indigenous communities particularly value these traditions, seeing them as part of who they are. When rivers are damaged or languages lost, these songs and stories risk disappearing too. Efforts to record and preserve them recognize that they're not just quaint folklore, but irreplaceable cultural treasures, ways of knowing and relating to rivers that modern science complements but cannot replace. Rivers through the seasons. Spring brings snowmelt and the year's highest flows. In temperate and mountain regions, spring is the season when rivers awaken. Snow that has accumulated for months begins to melt as temperatures rise and days lengthen. At first, the melt is gradual, feeding rivers slowly. But as spring progresses, warm rains combine with melting snow, and rivers swell dramatically. This is typically the peak flow season, when rivers are at their most powerful. The water is cold, often cloudy with suspended sediment from erosion. The increased flow scours channels, moving rocks and reshaping the riverbed. For fish, spring flows trigger spawning runs. Salmon and other migratory species swim upstream against the current. For plants along the river, the rising water brings both destruction and opportunity, destroying some vegetation but depositing fresh sediment and creating bare ground where new plants can establish. For humans, spring floods are times of concern and preparation, monitoring river levels, reinforcing banks, and evacuating if necessary. But they're also times of renewal, a reminder that rivers are dynamic systems with annual rhythms. When the snow is gone and flows begin to recede, everyone breathes easier, and summer's lower flows become welcome. Summer's low flows concentrate life in shrinking habitats. As summer progresses and snowmelt diminishes, rivers shrink. In many regions, summer is the dry season, with little rain to replenish flow. Rivers become a fraction of their spring size, exposing gravel bars and widening banks. The remaining water warms, especially in shallow sections or where trees don't shade the channel. This concentration of flow changes ecosystems. Fish and other aquatic animals crowd into remaining pools, competing for space and oxygen. If flows drop too low or temperatures rise too high, fish kills can occur. Some streams dry completely, leaving only isolated pools where species must survive until autumn rains return. Plants along the river that depended on moist soil may wither unless their roots reach groundwater. For water users, summer is often when competition becomes acute. Irrigation demands peak, while supply dwindles. River recreation patterns change too. Rafting becomes impossible on rivers that are too low, while swimming and wading become better as reduced flow creates calm pools. Summer is a test for river ecosystems, separating species that can tolerate heat and low flow from those that cannot. Autumn leaves falling into rivers feed winter food webs. The arrival of autumn brings change. As deciduous trees prepare for winter, they drop their leaves, and many fall into nearby rivers. This annual pulse of organic matter is crucial. The leaves don't immediately provide nutrition. They're too tough for most animals to eat directly. First, they must be conditioned. Fungi and bacteria colonize the leaves, breaking down tough cellulose and concentrating nutrients. This process takes weeks or months. By midwinter, the leaves are soft, rich in microbial protein, and palatable. Aquatic insects, especially shredders like certain caddisflies and stoneflies, tear apart the conditioned leaves, consuming them along with their microbial coating. The insects, in turn, are eaten by fish. This detrital food web can sustain rivers through winter when photosynthesis by algae is limited by low light and cold temperatures. The type of leaves matters. Some, like alder, are nutritious and decompose quickly. Others, like oak, are tougher and slower to break down, providing food over longer periods. A diversity of leaf inputs creates temporal variety in food availability. This connection between forest and river illustrates how terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems are intertwined. The health of the forest directly affects the river flowing through it. Winter's cold slows life, but rivers continue flowing beneath ice. Winter is often seen as a dead season for rivers, but life continues, just more slowly. In regions where rivers freeze, ice cover changes everything. Light penetration decreases, limiting photosynthesis. The insulating ice prevents oxygen exchange with air, and levels can drop, especially in eutrophic waters with high decomposition rates. Fish become torpid, their metabolism slowing in cold water. They gather in deep pools where flow is slow and temperature more stable. Some bury themselves in mud or under rocks. Invertebrates also slow down, though many continue feeding at reduced rates. Beneath the ice, the river flows on in darkness, a hidden world. The ice itself provides habitat. Algae can grow on its underside, where light penetrates. In spring, when ice melts, these algae are released, providing an early season food pulse. For air-breathing animals like otters, ice is a challenge. They must find holes or break through to breathe. Beavers store food near their lodges, accessed through underwater entrances. Winter demonstrates the resilience of river life, the ability of species to endure harsh conditions by adapting behavior and physiology. When spring returns, the system awakens and the cycle continues. Each season reveals different aspects of river character. Rivers are not static. They transform with the seasons, each period revealing different facets. Spring's high water showcases power, the river at its most energetic and dangerous, capable of moving boulders and reshaping landscapes. Summer's low, clear water reveals structure, the bones of the riverbed, the arrangement of pools and riffles. You can see fish swimming, watch invertebrates crawling on rocks, observe plants growing. Autumn brings transitions, cooler temperatures and changing colors, the ecosystem preparing for winter. Leaves fall and flow downstream in rafts. Salmon arrive, exhausted from their journey, spawning and dying, their bodies feeding the system. Winter imposes stillness, freezing surface motion, while flow continues beneath. To know a river fully requires experiencing it through all seasons, understanding how it changes yet remains itself. Each season has its beauty and lessons. Spring teaches us about power and renewal, summer about scarcity and adaptation, autumn about endings and preparation, winter about endurance and hidden persistence. The river cycles through these states year after year, century after century, each season a chapter in an endless story. The nature of rivers. Every river begins as a single drop of water, somewhere high above. When you think of a great river, it's easy to imagine its broad expanse, miles wide, flowing powerfully toward the ocean. Yet every single one of these mighty waterways started as something impossibly small. A raindrop falling on a mountaintop, a snowflake melting in spring sunlight, a trickle of water seeping from underground. These tiny beginnings gather together, joining with other drops, forming rivulets that merge into brooks, then streams, then creeks. Gravity pulls them downward, always downward, carving channels through rock and soil. What starts as something you could cup in your hands eventually becomes a force that shapes continents. The Amazon, the Nile, the Mississippi, all of them began this way. Humble origins growing into something magnificent. To stand beside a great river is to witness the accumulation of countless small beginnings, all flowing together into one powerful current. Rivers always flow downhill, following the path of least resistance. It seems obvious when you think about it, but there's something profound in the simplicity. Water cannot flow upward on its own. It always seeks the lowest point, the easiest route downward. This is why rivers wind and meander, why they curve around obstacles rather than pushing straight through them. A river, encountering a hard ridge of rock, will flow around it, seeking softer ground. Meeting a valley, it will fill the lowest channel first. Over time, these choices create patterns. The river becomes a living map of the landscape's hidden topography, revealing where the land is hard and where it yields. This endless seeking of the easiest path gives rivers their characteristic shapes, those graceful curves and loops that look almost intentional. But they are simply water obeying the fundamental law of gravity, flowing ever downward, always finding a way. The source of a river is called its headwaters. Somewhere high in the mountains or deep in a forest, water first emerges and begins its journey. These headwaters might be a spring bubbling from the ground, fed by underground aquifers. They might be a glacier slowly melting, releasing ancient ice as modern water. Or they could be a marshy wetland where rainfall collects and begins to trickle downhill. Headwaters are often cold, clear, and pure, having recently emerged from underground or fallen from the sky. They are the birthplace of the river, though they rarely look impressive. Just a small stream, sometimes narrow enough to step across. Yet this is where everything begins. Indigenous peoples and early explorers often treated headwaters as sacred places, recognizing them as the source of life for everything downstream. To visit a river's headwaters is to stand at the beginning of a story that will travel thousands of miles before it ends. The mouth of a river is where it meets the sea. After traveling across continents, descending from mountains, gathering strength from tributaries, every river eventually reaches its destination. The mouth is where fresh water mingles with salt, where the river's journey ends and the ocean's begins. These places are often dramatic, wide deltas spreading into fingers of land and water. Deep estuaries, where tides push back against the river's flow. Sometimes the meeting is gentle, a gradual blending. Other times it's violent, with waves and currents colliding in churning confusion. River mouths are among the most fertile places on Earth. The sediment carried from far upstream settles here, creating rich soil. Nutrients from the land feed coastal ecosystems. Civilizations have flourished at river mouths for this reason, building great port cities where the bounty of both river and ocean could be harvested. The mouth of a river is an ending, but also a beginning, as the water that flowed here will eventually evaporate, form clouds, and rain down on those distant headwaters once again. The journey of water rivers carry water from land back to the ocean in an endless cycle. The water flowing in a river today has been on an incredible journey. It may have fallen as rain last week, or it might be snow melt from winters past. Before that, it was water vapor in clouds, and before that, part of the ocean. The hydrological cycle is a closed loop. Water evaporates from seas, lakes, and rivers, rises into the atmosphere, condenses into clouds, and falls as precipitation. What lands on mountains and hillsides begins the journey back, pulled by gravity through rivers toward the sea. Along the way, it nourishes forests, fills aquifers, sustains wildlife, and supports human civilization. Then it reaches the ocean, and the cycle begins again. This has been happening for billions of years, the same water circulating endlessly. The river outside your window contains molecules that once flowed through ancient rivers that dinosaurs drank from, that filled the Nile in the time of pharaohs. Water is immortal in this way, never created or destroyed, only transformed and transported through the patient work of rivers. Some rivers flow for thousands of miles before reaching the sea. The longest rivers on Earth are almost incomprehensible in scale. The Nile stretches about 4,100 miles from its source in the highlands of East Africa to the Mediterranean Sea. The Amazon runs roughly 4,000 miles from the Andes to the Atlantic. These journeys can take months for a single drop of water to complete. Along the way, the river crosses climates, ecosystems, and human borders. It begins in one world and ends in another. The water that starts in a cold mountain spring will eventually flow through tropical rainforests or across arid deserts. It will pass through countless communities, each depending on it for survival. The river will collect tributaries, growing ever wider and deeper. By the time it reaches the ocean, it will be a completely different body of water than it was at its source, transformed by the land it has traveled through and the waters that have joined it. A river's flow is measured in cubic feet per second. To understand how much water a river carries, scientists measure its discharge, the volume of water passing a particular point in a given amount of time. This is usually expressed in cubic feet per second, or CFS. A small stream might carry just a few CFS. A modest river might flow at hundreds or thousands, but the great rivers of the world move staggering volumes. The Amazon, the mightiest of all, discharges an average of about 7 million cubic feet per second into the Atlantic Ocean. That's more than the next 7 largest rivers combined. To put it another way, the Amazon releases roughly 58 million gallons of water into the ocean every single second. It accounts for about 20% of all the fresh water that enters the world's oceans. These numbers are difficult to comprehend, but they reveal the immense power of rivers to move water across continents, redistributing the rainfall of entire regions back to the sea. The speed of a river varies from edge to center. If you watch a river carefully, you'll notice something interesting. Leaves or twigs floating in the middle move faster than those near the banks. This is because friction slows the water down. Where the river touches its bed and sides, the water drags against rock, soil, and vegetation, creating resistance. The center of the river, farthest from these obstacles, flows most freely and swiftly. The deepest part of the channel also tends to move faster than shallow areas. This variation in speed creates complex currents within a river. Water doesn't just flow downstream uniformly. It swirls, eddies, and circulates in 3 dimensions. Near the banks, the flow might be sluggish and calm. In the center, it can be swift and powerful. Understanding these patterns is crucial for boaters, engineers, and ecologists. The varying speeds shape how sediment is deposited, where fish prefer to swim, and how nutrients are distributed throughout the river system. Rivers and landscapes. Rivers carve valleys and canyons over millions of years. The Grand Canyon is one of the most spectacular examples of a river's patient power. The Colorado River has been cutting through layers of rock for about 6 million years, carving a gorge that reaches depths of over a mile. Each year, the river removes a tiny amount of material, grain by grain, carrying it downstream. Multiply that by millions of years, and the result is breathtaking. Rivers create valleys by eroding the land beneath them and carrying away the debris. In young landscapes with steep slopes, rivers cut deep V-shaped valleys, narrow and dramatic. In older, gentler terrain, they carve broad, flat-bottomed valleys. The shape of a valley tells you about the river's history, its age, the hardness of the rock it flows through, and the slope of the land. Every valley is a chronicle written in stone and water, a record of time measured not in human years but in the slow, steady work of flowing water. Meanders form when rivers flow across flat landscapes. When a river reaches flatter ground, something beautiful happens. Instead of rushing straight ahead, it begins to curve and loop, forming graceful shaped bends called meanders. This happens because water naturally flows faster on the outside of any curve, eroding the bank there, while the inside of the curve experiences slower flow, allowing sediment to deposit. This creates a feedback loop. The outside erodes, the inside builds up, and the curve becomes more pronounced. Over time, meanders can become so extreme that the river loops back on itself, sometimes nearly forming a circle. Eventually, during a flood, the river might cut straight across the narrow neck of a meander, abandoning the old loop entirely. What's left behind is called an oxbow lake, a crescent-shaped body of water that was once part of the river but now sits isolated beside it. Meanders give rivers their characteristic serpentine beauty, those elegant curves that make them look like ribbons laid across the land. Some rivers change course dramatically over time. Rivers are not permanent features in the way we might imagine. They shift, wander, and sometimes completely change their path. This is especially true of rivers flowing across flat floodplains with soft sediment. During floods, A river swollen with water might break through its banks and carve a new channel. The old channel might slowly fill in with silt and vegetation, becoming a mere memory. Historical records show that major rivers like the Yellow River in China and the Mississippi in North America have changed course numerous times over the centuries, sometimes with devastating consequences for human settlements. Cities that were once riverside ports can find themselves stranded miles from the water. Islands that existed for generations can disappear overnight. This dynamic nature is part of what makes rivers so fascinating. They are alive in a geological sense, constantly reshaping themselves and the land around them, following paths that are temporary on the scale of centuries or millennia. Deltas form where rivers deposit sediment at their mouths. As a river slows down upon reaching the ocean or a lake, it loses the energy to carry all the sediment it has picked up along its journey. Sand, silt, and clay begin to settle out, accumulating at the river's mouth. Over thousands of years, this builds up into a delta, a fan-shaped landform that extends into the water. Some deltas are massive. The Mississippi River Delta covers thousands of square miles. The Ganges-Brahmaputra Delta in Bangladesh and India is even larger. These are among the most fertile places on Earth, regularly replenished with nutrient-rich sediment from upstream. They're also among the most densely populated regions, supporting hundreds of millions of people. Deltas are constantly changing, with channels shifting, new land forming, and old land eroding away. They are battlegrounds between river and sea, shaped by both fresh and salt water, by currents, tides, and storms. To stand in a delta is to stand on land that didn't exist a few thousand years ago, ground that is still being built even now. Floodplains are the flat lands beside rivers that flood regularly. Rivers are not confined to their channels. During heavy rains or snowmelt, water levels rise and the river spreads beyond its banks onto the adjacent land. These floodplains are an essential part of the river system. When floodwaters spread across this flat ground, they slow down dramatically, depositing sediment and nutrients. This makes floodplains incredibly fertile. Ancient civilizations like Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley flourished on floodplains, where annual floods brought rich soil that sustained agriculture. The flooding also recharges groundwater, creates wetland habitats, and connects the river to oxbow lakes and backwater areas. From a river's perspective, the floodplain is not separate land, but an extension of itself, a place it visits seasonally. Humans have tried to control this with levees and dams, keeping rivers confined. But this disrupts natural processes and can lead to more catastrophic floods when the barriers eventually fail. Floodplains remind us that rivers need room to breathe, to expand and contract with the seasons. The life within rivers teem with fish adapted to flowing water. Unlike the still waters of lakes and ponds, rivers present unique challenges for fish. The constant current means they must either swim constantly or find places to rest. Many river fish are streamlined, with powerful tails that let them hold position in fast water. Some, like trout and salmon, are built for life in swift currents, darting up rapids to reach spawning grounds. Others, like catfish, prefer slower sections, using their whiskers to feel along the bottom for food. Rivers contain incredible diversity. The Amazon alone is home to over 3,000 species of fish, more than the entire Atlantic Ocean. River fish are specialists, each adapted to their particular stretch of water. Some thrive in cold, oxygen-rich headwaters. Others prefer the warm, murky waters of lowland rivers. As you travel down a river from source to mouth, you'll encounter completely different communities of fish, each perfectly suited to their environment. This diversity makes rivers among the most biologically rich habitats on Earth. Salmon famously swim upstream to spawn in their birth rivers. One of nature's most remarkable journeys is the salmon run. These fish are born in cold, clear streams far upstream. As juveniles, they migrate downstream to the ocean, where they spend most of their adult lives feeding and growing. Then, driven by instinct, they return to the exact stream where they were born, often traveling hundreds of miles upstream against powerful currents. They leap up waterfalls, navigate rapids, and push through shallow water. Along the way, they don't eat, surviving on stored energy. Their bodies begin to change, preparing for spawning. Once they reach their birthplace, they lay eggs in gravel beds, and most die shortly after, their bodies providing nutrients for the ecosystem. The next generation hatches, and the cycle begins again. How they navigate back to their birth stream is still not fully understood, but it involves detecting chemical signatures in the water, magnetic fields, and even celestial cues. The salmon run is one of Earth's great natural spectacles, a testament to the deep connection between rivers and the life they sustain. Otters and beavers are among the most charismatic river mammals. Rivers are home to some wonderfully playful and industrious mammals. Otters, with their sleek bodies and webbed feet, are perfectly adapted to aquatic life. They hunt fish with remarkable agility, diving and twisting through the water with effortless grace. River otters are known for their playfulness, sliding down muddy banks for fun and engaging in complex social behaviors. Beavers, on the other hand, are nature's engineers. They fell trees with their powerful teeth, constructing dams that create ponds and wetlands. A single beaver family can completely transform a stream ecosystem, raising water levels, creating habitat for countless other species, and even influencing how water flows across the landscape. These dams can last for decades, with generation after generation of beavers maintaining them. Both otters and beavers were once hunted to near extinction for their fur, but conservation efforts have brought many populations back. To spot one in the wild is a special treat, a glimpse of the rich mammalian life that thrives in and around rivers. Mayflies spend most of their lives underwater as nymphs. Along the banks of many rivers, you might witness a strange phenomenon on summer evenings. Clouds of delicate insects emerge, dancing in the air. These are mayflies, and they are living out the final hours of their lives. Mayflies spend the vast majority of their existence as nymphs, living on the river bottom, often for a year or more. They cling to rocks, feed on algae and organic matter, and molt repeatedly as they grow. Then, all at once, an entire generation emerges from the water as winged adults. But these adults have no functional mouths. They cannot eat. They exist solely to mate and lay eggs, a process that takes only a day or two before they die. Their brief adult life gives them their name. For that fleeting time, they fill the air above rivers in enormous numbers, providing a feast for birds and fish. Then they fall back to the water, their bodies feeding the next generation. The mayfly's life cycle is a reminder that rivers are layered worlds, with as much happening beneath the surface as above it. Microscopic organisms form the base of river food webs. While we notice fish and birds, the real foundation of river life is invisible to the naked eye. Algae coating rocks, phytoplankton drifting in the current, bacteria breaking down organic matter. These microscopic organisms are the primary producers, converting sunlight and nutrients into energy that flows through the entire ecosystem. Tiny invertebrates graze on them. Those invertebrates are eaten by small fish, which are eaten by larger fish, which might be caught by herons or ospreys. Every link in the chain traces back to those microscopic beginnings. The health of these unseen communities determines the health of the entire river. Pollution, warming water, or changes in nutrient flow can devastate them, and the effects ripple upward. Scientists monitor river health by sampling these microorganisms, studying their diversity and abundance. They are the early warning system, showing stress in the ecosystem before it becomes visible in the larger animals. The next time you see a river, remember that its true richness lies mostly beyond what your eyes can see, in the teeming microscopic world that makes all the rest possible. Seasonal changes. Rivers swell with spring snowmelt in mountain regions. In places where winters are harsh and snowy, spring brings a transformation to rivers. As temperatures rise, the snowpack that has accumulated over months begins to melt. Water that has been locked in ice suddenly becomes liquid again, flowing downhill in torrents. Small streams become raging rivers. Rivers that were modest in winter become powerful floods. This snowmelt-driven high water is predictable, arriving every year as surely as the seasons change. For millennia, people living near these rivers have adapted their lives to this rhythm. They know when the high water will come, and they prepare. The snowmelt brings fresh, cold water rushing downstream, recharging groundwater, flooding riparian areas, and carrying nutrients that have been frozen all winter. It's a time of renewal, when rivers are at their most vigorous. Then, as summer arrives and the snowpack is exhausted, the rivers gradually subside, becoming calmer and clearer. This annual pulse of snowmelt is the heartbeat of many mountain river systems, driving cycles of life that depend on this seasonal flood. Some rivers nearly dry up in summer heat. Not all rivers flow year-round. In regions with dry summers or seasonal rainfall patterns, rivers can shrink to a fraction of their size or disappear entirely. What was a flowing stream in spring becomes a series of isolated pools by late summer. Riverbed turns into a path of dry stones, with only the deepest holes retaining water. These seasonal or intermittent rivers are common in Mediterranean climates, monsoon regions, and semi-arid lands. Life here has adapted to these extremes. Fish retreat to the deepest pools, waiting for the rains to return. Amphibians burrow into mud and enter dormancy. Plants with deep roots survive where surface water has vanished. Then, when the rains finally arrive, the river awakens. Water flows again, filling the channel from bank to bank. Seeds germinate. Fish swim upstream from their refuges, and the ecosystem bursts back to life. These rivers remind us that water is not always abundant, that its presence is a gift shaped by climate and season, arriving and departing according to ancient rhythms. Autumn brings falling leaves that feed river ecosystems. When deciduous trees shed their leaves in autumn, much of that organic matter ends up in nearby rivers. Leaves fall into the water, where they slowly break down over the winter months. This process is crucial for river ecosystems. The leaves provide food for countless insects, snails, and other invertebrates that shred and consume them. Bacteria and fungi colonize the dead leaves, breaking them down further and making their nutrients available. This decaying leaf matter, called detritus, forms the base of the food web in many forested rivers, especially in the colder months when algae growth is limited. The amount and type of leaves matter. Oak leaves break down slowly, while softer leaves like alder decompose quickly. A diverse mix provides steady nutrition throughout the seasons. Some insects are specialists, adapted to feed only on certain leaf types. The connection between the forest and the river is intimate. What happens in the trees above directly influences what happens in the water below. Rivers in forested regions depend on this annual gift of leaves to sustain life through the lean months. winter ice can transform rivers into still landscapes. In cold regions, rivers freeze. The transformation is gradual. First, ice forms along the edges where the water is stillest. Then it extends inward, narrowing the open channel. In the coldest winters, a river might freeze completely, its surface becoming a smooth sheet of ice. But even then, water often continues to flow beneath, moving in darkness under the frozen roof. Ice changes everything. The connection between the river and the atmosphere is severed. Oxygen cannot enter the water, and gases cannot escape. Light is blocked, limiting photosynthesis. For the creatures living in the river, winter ice presents challenges. Fish become sluggish in the cold water, their metabolism slowing. Some burrow into the mud, entering a dormant state. Others gather in the deepest pools where water is less likely to freeze solid. Yet the ice also provides protection, insulating the water below from the harshest cold. When spring finally arrives and the ice begins to break up, it's a dramatic event. Great sheets crack and shift, grinding against each other, sometimes piling up into jams that briefly dam the river before breaking free. Monsoon rains can make gentle streams into raging torrents overnight. In tropical and subtropical regions with monsoon climates, the transformation of rivers can be sudden and dramatic. During the dry season, they might be shallow and peaceful, easy to wade across. Then the monsoon arrives, bringing weeks of heavy rain. Within hours, a calm stream can become a churning, muddy flood, rising 10 feet or more, sweeping away everything in its path. Trees, boulders, sometimes even vehicles, are carried downstream in the tumult. The sound is deafening, a roar that can be heard from miles away. These floods are both destructive and life-giving. They reshape the river channel, redistribute sediment, and deliver water and nutrients to floodplains and wetlands. Rice paddies flood, providing ideal conditions for planting. Reservoirs fill, storing water for the dry months ahead. But the power is also dangerous. Flash floods can trap people, and the force of moving water is difficult to escape. Those who live with monsoon rivers learn to read the signs, to respect the water's power, and to adapt their lives to these annual cycles of feast and famine. Great rivers of the world. The Amazon is the largest river by volume on Earth. No river moves more water than the Amazon. It drains a basin covering about 40% of South America, an area nearly as large as Australia. Countless tributaries feed it, gathering rainfall from the Andes to the Atlantic. By the time the Amazon reaches the ocean, it discharges so much fresh water that it dilutes the salinity of the Atlantic for miles offshore. Sailors can dip their cups into the ocean and drink fresh water while still out of sight of land. The river is so wide in places that standing on one bank, you cannot see the other side. During the wet season, it spreads even further, flooding vast areas of rainforest. The Amazon is not just a river, but an entire aquatic world, home to electric eels, piranhas, river dolphins, anacondas, caimans, and thousands of fish species. Its waters are murky, carrying immense loads of sediment. The river has shaped the rainforest, and the rainforest has shaped the river, creating one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet. The Amazon is more than a river. It is a living force, a system so vast it influences global climate and generates its own weather patterns. The Nile sustained ancient Egyptian civilization for millennia. For the people of ancient Egypt, the Nile was everything. Life, death, time itself revolved around the river. Every year, like clockwork, the Nile would flood, swelling with water from distant highlands in Ethiopia and Uganda. The floods brought rich black silt that fertilized the narrow strip of land along the banks, making agriculture possible in an otherwise desert landscape. Without the Nile, there would have been no Egypt, no pyramids, no pharaohs, no hieroglyphs. The entire civilization was built on the predictable rhythm of the river's floods. Temples and tombs were constructed beyond the reach of the annual inundation, while fields stretched along the fertile strip. Farmers planted in the wet soil after the floods receded, harvesting before the next cycle began. The Nile was so central to Egyptian life that it was personified as a god, Hapi, the bringer of abundance. Today, the construction of the Aswan High Dam has stopped the natural floods, changing the river forever. But for thousands of years, the Nile was the heartbeat of one of history's greatest civilizations. The Mississippi shapes the central United States. The Mississippi River drains much of the American heartland, gathering water from tributaries that reach from the Rocky Mountains to the Appalachians. It flows over 2,300 miles from its source at Lake Itasca in Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico. Along the way, it has shaped American history and geography. Early Native American civilizations built great mound cities along its banks. European explorers used it as a highway into the continent's interior. During the Civil War, controlling the Mississippi was a strategic priority. The river has been a route for commerce, carrying goods and people on steamboats and barges. It has also been a challenge, with devastating floods that reshaped communities. The Great Mississippi Flood of 1927 was one of the most destructive natural disasters in American history, displacing hundreds of thousands and leading to massive levee construction. Today, the river remains a vital commercial waterway and a defining feature of the landscape. From the source to the vast delta in Louisiana, the Mississippi is woven into the fabric of the nation. The Ganges is sacred to millions in India and Bangladesh. To Hindus, the Ganges is not just a river, but a goddess descended from the heavens. Its waters are considered purifying, capable of washing away sins. Millions of pilgrims travel to its banks each year to bathe in its waters, especially at holy cities like Varanasi and Haridwar. The sick and dying are brought to the river, and ashes of the cremated are scattered on its surface, returning souls to the cycle of rebirth. The Ganges has sustained civilizations for thousands of years, providing water for drinking, irrigation, and transport. It flows from the Himalayas through the densely populated plains of northern India and Bangladesh, one of the most heavily populated river basins in the world. Over 400 million people depend on its waters. But this dependence has come at a cost. The Ganges is now one of the most polluted rivers on Earth, choked with sewage, industrial waste, and agricultural runoff. Efforts to clean and restore it are ongoing, driven by both spiritual devotion and practical necessity. The Ganges embodies the complexity of humanity's relationship with rivers, sacred and profane, life-giving and endangered. The Yangtze is the longest river in Asia, flowing over 3,900 miles from the Tibetan Plateau to the East China Sea. The Yangtze is the lifeblood of China. It drains nearly a fifth of the country's landmass and passes through some of its most important cities, including Chongqing, Wuhan, Nanjing, and Shanghai. The river has been central to Chinese civilization for thousands of years, supporting agriculture, industry, and transportation. Its floodplain is one of the most productive agricultural regions in the world, often called China's Rice Bowl. The Yangtze is also famous for its dramatic scenery, particularly the Three Gorges, a series of steep-sided canyons where the river cuts through mountains. In 2006, the Three Gorges Dam was completed, creating the world's largest hydroelectric power station. The dam has been controversial, displacing over 1 million people, flooding archaeological sites, and altering the river's ecology. But it also provides clean energy and helps control devastating floods that have plagued the region for centuries. The Yangtze is a river of contrasts, ancient and modern, beautiful and industrial, a waterway that defines a nation. The Congo is the deepest river in the world. In the heart of Africa flows the Congo River, a waterway of superlatives. It is the second longest river in Africa after the Nile, and the second largest by discharge after the Amazon. But its most remarkable feature is its depth. In places, the Congo plunges over 700 feet deep, making it the deepest river on Earth. This extraordinary depth is due to the river cutting through an ancient geological basin. The Congo drains the vast rainforests of Central Africa, a region of incredible biodiversity. The river itself is home to over 700 species of fish, many found nowhere else. It flows through dense jungle, over rapids and waterfalls, including the powerful Inga Falls. Unlike most great rivers, the Congo has no true delta. Instead, cutting through a gorge and emptying directly into the Atlantic. The river basin is sparsely populated compared to other major rivers, and much of it remains wild and remote. For centuries, the Congo presented a barrier to exploration and travel, its rapids preventing easy navigation. Today, it remains one of the world's great untamed rivers, a reminder of nature's power and mystery. Rivers and human history. The first civilizations arose along fertile river valleys. When humans transitioned from nomadic hunting and gathering to settled agriculture, they did so beside rivers. The Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia, the Nile in Egypt, the Indus in Pakistan and India, the Yellow River in China, all cradled early civilizations. Rivers provided three essentials: water for drinking and irrigation, fertile soil replenished by floods, and transportation routes for trade and communication. These river valleys became centers of innovation, where writing, mathematics, law, and organized religion developed. Cities grew, temples and palaces rose, and complex societies emerged. The rivers shaped not just where people lived, but how they lived. The need to manage irrigation and predict floods led to calendars, astronomy, and bureaucracies. River civilizations learned to cooperate on large-scale projects, building canals, dikes, and reservoirs. They also learned the dangers when floods came unexpectedly or droughts dried the rivers. The connection between rivers and civilization is so fundamental that we can trace the story of human development by following the course of great rivers. Rivers served as highways before roads connected regions. In a world before cars or trains, moving goods and people over land was slow and difficult. Rivers offered a better way. A boat loaded with cargo could float downstream with the current, covering in days what would take weeks by wagon. Even traveling upstream, using oars, poles, or sails, was often easier than navigating rough terrain. Rivers became the first highways, natural routes that connected interior regions to the sea. Along the Mississippi, the Rhine, the Danube, and countless others, commerce flourished. Cities grew at strategic points, where rivers met, where they could be easily crossed, or where rapids forced goods to be portaged around obstacles. These locations became trading centers, accumulating wealth and power. Riverboats evolved over centuries, from simple dugout canoes to elaborate paddle wheelers. Control of rivers meant control of trade, and wars were fought over access to key waterways. Even today, despite modern roads and railways, rivers remain important transportation corridors, with barges carrying bulk goods like grain, coal, and oil. at a fraction of the cost of land transport. Bridges across rivers mark advances in engineering and culture. A river is both a connection and a barrier. It links the lands it flows through but also divides them. Crossing safely has always been a challenge, and the bridges built to span rivers tell the story of human ingenuity. Early bridges were simple: logs fallen across streams, ropes strung between banks, stone slabs laid on piers. As civilizations advanced, bridges became grander and more durable. The Romans built stone arch bridges that still stand 2,000 years later. In the Middle Ages, bridges became places of commerce, with shops and houses built along them, like London's famous London Bridge. The Industrial Revolution brought iron and steel, allowing engineers to span ever wider rivers. Suspension bridges, like the Brooklyn Bridge and the Golden Gate Bridge, became iconic landmarks. Building a bridge across a major river was often a defining moment for a city, uniting communities that had been separated and opening new possibilities for trade and growth. Bridges are symbols as much as structures, representing connection, progress, and the human desire to overcome natural obstacles. Mills and factories were built beside rivers for water power. Before steam engines and electricity, rivers provided mechanical power. The flow of water could turn wheels, which could drive machinery. Watermills appeared thousands of years ago, grinding grain into flour. Later, they powered saws, hammered metal, and ran textile looms. The Industrial Revolution began in places with fast-flowing rivers that could drive the new factories. Towns grew around these mills, and rivers became centers of industry. The constant flow of water was reliable power, and it was free, but there were drawbacks. Mills had to be located where rivers flowed swiftly, often in remote areas. They depended on seasonal water levels, weakening in droughts and floods, and as industry grew, rivers became dumping grounds for waste. The clear water that powered the mills became polluted with dyes, chemicals, and sewage. By the 20th century, many rivers in industrial regions were so degraded that fish could not survive. The legacy of terraces, this era, is mixed. Rivers drove human progress, but they also paid a heavy price. Today, many of these old mill towns are working to restore their rivers, seeking to balance history, ecology, and community. Dams alter rivers profoundly, creating lakes and controlling floods. Humans have been building dams for thousands of years, but the 20th century was the age of massive dams. Structures like the Hoover Dam, the Aswan High Dam, and China's Three Gorges Dam are engineering marvels, towering walls of concrete that hold back entire rivers. Behind them, reservoirs stretch for miles, artificial lakes storing billions of gallons of water. Dams serve many purposes. They generate hydroelectric power, provide water for irrigation and cities, control flooding, and create recreation areas. But they also transform rivers fundamentally. The natural flow is disrupted, seasonal floods are eliminated, and sediment that would normally travel downstream accumulates behind the dam instead. Fish that migrate, like salmon, can no longer reach their spawning grounds. Downstream ecosystems suffer from reduced flow and changed water temperatures. Communities are displaced to make room for reservoirs, and cultural sites are flooded. Dams represent a profound human intervention in natural systems, offering great benefits, but at significant environmental and social costs. They show both our ability to reshape nature and the unforeseen consequences that follow. The power and beauty of rivers' waterfalls form, where rivers drop suddenly over hard rock. One of nature's most spectacular sights is a waterfall, where a river plunges vertically, sometimes hundreds of feet. Waterfalls form when a river flows over a layer of hard, resistant rock, underlain by softer material. The softer rock erodes faster, creating a vertical drop. Over time, the waterfall can migrate upstream as the edge continues to erode and collapse. Some waterfalls are modest cascades, water tumbling over a series of supposed ledges. Others are sheer drops, where the river launches into space, falling as a column of white water. The largest waterfalls are staggering in scale. Victoria Falls on the Zambezi River is over a mile wide, and during peak flow, over 500 million liters of water pour over its edge every minute. The roar is deafening. The mist rises hundreds of feet, and rainbows arc through the spray. Niagara Falls, Angel Falls, Iguazu Falls, each has drawn visitors for centuries, people standing in awe at the raw power of falling water. A waterfall is a river concentrated into a single dramatic moment, all its force focused on one precipice. Rapids form where water flows over rocks and through narrow channels. Not all of a river's power is vertical. Rapids occur where the river accelerates over a rocky bed or through a constriction, creating turbulent, fast-flowing water filled with waves, holes, and standing waves. The water becomes white with foam and air, giving these sections the name whitewater. Rapids are graded on a scale from Class 1, easy ripples, to Class V, nearly impossible and extremely dangerous. They form where the riverbed steepens or where large boulders obstruct the flow, forcing water around and over obstacles. The result is a chaotic, churning stretch that challenges even experienced boaters. For kayakers and rafters, rapids are the ultimate thrill, requiring skill, timing, and respect for the water's power. For early explorers, rapids were barriers that forced portages, carrying boats and supplies overland to calmer water beyond. The sound of rapids is distinctive, a continuous roar that can be heard long before the whitewater comes into view. To stand beside a rapid is to feel the river's energy in its rawest form. The Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon over millions of years. Perhaps no river has created a more iconic landscape than the Colorado River. Over approximately 6 million years, it has cut through layers of rock in northern Arizona, creating the Grand Canyon, a chasm over a mile deep and up to 18 miles wide. The river exposes rock layers spanning nearly 2 billion years of Earth's history, a geological textbook written in stone. The canyon's formation is a story of patient erosion. Year after year, the river carries away sand and silt, grinding deeper into the bedrock. Flash floods accelerate the process, scouring the channel. Tributaries carve side canyons, widening the main gorge. The result is one of the world's most breathtaking natural wonders, a vast landscape of layered cliffs, towering buttes, and painted desert colors. The Colorado River itself, seen from the rim, appears as a thin ribbon far below, almost insignificant. Yet that modest thread of water created everything you see, proof that given enough time, even a river can move mountains. Rivers in flood can reshape entire landscapes overnight. Most of the time, rivers are predictable, flowing peacefully within their banks. But during extreme floods, they become agents of dramatic change. A flood can arrive with astonishing speed, especially in steep terrain where rain rushes downhill rapidly. The water rises, overflows the banks, and spreads across the floodplain with tremendous force. Trees are uprooted, houses swept away, roads destroyed. The river carries immense loads of sediment, rocks, and debris, scouring some areas down to bedrock, while depositing material in others. Channels are abandoned and new ones carved. Islands disappear, sandbars form, and the entire river can shift laterally, sometimes by miles. When the water recedes, the landscape looks entirely different. What was fertile farmland might be buried under gravel. Where there was a forest, only stumps and sand remain. For human communities, these floods are disasters. But from the river's perspective, they are renewal, a chance to rework the landscape and redistribute resources. Floods remind us that rivers are dynamic, powerful forces that occasionally need to stretch and reshape themselves. The sound of flowing water has a calming effect on humans. There's something deeply soothing about the sound of a river. Whether it's the gentle burble of a small stream, the rhythmic rush of rapids, or the distant roar of a waterfall, water sounds have a remarkable ability to relax us. Studies have shown that listening to natural water sounds can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and improve focus. Perhaps this is because our ancestors relied on rivers for survival, and our brains still associate the sound of flowing water with safety and abundance. Or maybe it's the acoustic quality itself, a form of white noise that masks other sounds and creates a sense of privacy and peace. Rivers produce a complex soundscape, water splashing over rocks, gurgling through narrows, lapping against banks. No two moments sound exactly the same, yet there's a consistent, rhythmic quality that lulls the mind. Many people seek out rivers specifically for this experience, sitting by the bank with eyes closed, letting the sound wash over them. It's a form of meditation, a way to disconnect from the noise of modern life and reconnect with something ancient and elemental. Rivers and wildlife. Herons and egrets hunt patiently along riverbanks. Along the edges of rivers, you'll often see elegant wading birds standing motionless in the shallows. Herons and egrets are master fishers, employing patience and precision. They stand perfectly still, sometimes for minutes, waiting for a fish to swim within range. Then, in a lightning strike, the sharp beak darts down and spears the prey. These birds are perfectly adapted to river life. Long legs allow them to wade into deeper water. Sharp eyes pierce the surface glare. Specialized neck vertebrae allow them to strike with explosive speed. Different species have different strategies. Some herons hunt actively, walking slowly through the shallows. Others prefer to wait, conserving energy until opportunity presents itself. Great blue herons are among the largest, standing 4 feet tall with a wingspan over 6 feet. Snowy egrets are smaller, with brilliant white plumage that seems to glow in sunlight. Watching these birds hunt is mesmerizing, a study in focus and timing. They are a reminder that rivers are not just flowing water but hunting grounds, nurseries, and homes for countless species. Kingfishers dive from branches to catch fish below. Another remarkable river bird is the kingfisher, a small, colorful hunter with specialized adaptations. Perched on a branch overlooking the water, the kingfisher watches intently. When it spots a fish, it dives headfirst, plunging into the water at high speed. Its streamlined body and specially shaped beak reduce drag, allowing it to snatch prey and emerge in a burst of spray. Some kingfisher species hover in place before diving, beating their wings rapidly to hold position while searching for fish. Once a fish is caught, the kingfisher returns to its perch and beats the prey against the branch to stun it before swallowing it whole. Kingfishers nest in burrows excavated into riverbanks, tunneling several feet into the soil to create a safe chamber for their eggs. Their plumage is often brilliant, with electric blues, greens, and oranges that flash in the sunlight. Despite their beauty, they're shy and often heard before they're seen, emitting a sharp, rattling call as they fly along the river corridor. Dragonflies spend their youth underwater as fierce predators. Along any river in summer, you'll see dragonflies zipping through the air, their wings glittering. But these aerial acrobats begin life underwater. Female dragonflies lay eggs in the river, and the larvae that hatch are voracious predators. Called nymphs or naiads, they live on the river bottom for months or even years, depending on the species. They hunt other aquatic insects, tadpoles, even small fish, using an extendable lower jaw that shoots out to grab prey. As they grow, they molt repeatedly, shedding their exoskeleton. Finally, when ready for adulthood, they crawl out of the water onto a plant stem or rock. The nymph's skin splits open, and the adult dragonfly emerges, soft and vulnerable. It takes hours for its wings to harden and its colors to develop. Then it takes flight, one of the most skillful flyers in the insect world, capable of hovering, flying backwards, and reaching speeds over 30 miles per hour. The dragonfly's life is a bridge between two worlds, aquatic and aerial, both tied intimately to the river. Frogs and toads rely on rivers for breeding grounds. The chorus of frogs on a spring evening is one of the classic sounds of rivers and wetlands. Amphibians like frogs and toads have a dual life, spending time both on land and in water. Most depend on rivers, streams, or riverside pools for reproduction. Males gather at breeding sites and call loudly to attract females, each species with its own distinctive song. After mating, females lay masses of eggs in the water, often in quiet backwaters or shallow pools connected to the river. The eggs hatch into tadpoles, fully aquatic creatures that breathe through gills and feed on algae and organic matter. Over weeks or months, they undergo metamorphosis, growing legs, reabsorbing their tail, and developing lungs. Eventually, tiny froglets emerge from the water and disperse into the surrounding landscape. Many will return to the same stretch of river to breed when they mature. Frogs are indicators of environmental health, sensitive to pollution, changes in water quality, and habitat loss. A river without frogs is often a river in trouble. Their presence and their songs are signs of a healthy, living waterway. Turtles bask on logs and rocks along sunny riverbanks. On warm days, turtles emerge from the water to bask in the sun. You'll see them lined up on logs, rocks, or muddy banks, often stacked comically on top of each other. Basking serves several purposes. It warms their bodies, helping their metabolism function efficiently. It dries their shells, preventing the growth of algae and parasites, and the ultraviolet light helps them synthesize vitamin D. Turtles are cautious creatures, and any disturbance sends them sliding back into the water with gentle splashes. River turtles, like painted turtles, map turtles, and sliders, are common in many waterways. They feed on a variety of foods: plants, insects, fish, and carrion. Some are almost entirely aquatic, coming to land only to lay eggs. Females dig nests in sandy banks above the high water line, bury their eggs, and return to the river. The eggs incubate in the warmth of the sun, and when the hatchlings emerge months later, they instinctively scramble toward the water. Turtles are ancient creatures, largely unchanged for millions of years, slow-moving reminders of the deep time that rivers have flowed. River dolphins are among the rarest mammals on Earth. In a few great rivers, remarkable mammals have evolved to live entirely in fresh water. River dolphins are found in the Amazon, the Ganges-Brahmaputra, the Yangtze, and a few other systems. They are quite different from their oceanic cousins, with long, narrow beaks for catching fish in murky water, small eyes, since visibility is poor in sediment-laden rivers, and echolocation abilities that are even more sophisticated than those of marine dolphins. The Amazon pink river dolphin, also called the boto, is the largest river dolphin, sometimes reaching 8 feet in length and taking on a pinkish hue as it ages. These dolphins are solitary or travel in small groups, navigating flooded forests during high water to hunt among the submerged trees. Sadly, river dolphins are critically endangered. The Yangtze River dolphin, or baiji, was declared functionally extinct in 2006, a victim of pollution, boat traffic, and habitat loss. The others face similar threats. Saving river dolphins requires protecting entire river ecosystems, a monumental challenge, but one essential for preserving these unique creatures. Underground rivers and springs. Some rivers flow underground through limestone caves. Not all rivers run under open sky. In regions with limestone bedrock, water can dissolve the rock over time, creating vast cave systems. Rivers flowing on the surface may sink into these underground passages, disappearing from view. These subterranean rivers carve their way through the darkness, hollowing out chambers and tunnels. Some eventually emerge at springs miles away, but others remain hidden, flowing in perpetual night. Exploring underground rivers requires specialized skills and equipment. Cavers must navigate tight passages, wade through cold water, and climb slippery rock in complete darkness. The rewards are otherworldly landscapes, massive chambers with rivers flowing through them, walls covered in delicate formations, stillness broken only by the sound of water. Some underground rivers are huge. The Puerto Princesa underground river in the Philippines flows through an 8-kilometer cave system and is one of the longest navigable underground rivers in the world. These hidden waters remind us that the planet's hydrology is more complex than what we see on the surface, that entire river systems exist beneath our feet. Springs bring underground water back to the surface. Where underground water reaches the surface, springs emerge. They can be anything from a small seep moistening the ground to a powerful upwelling gushing millions of gallons per day. Springs often form where the water table intersects the ground surface, or where underground flow is forced upward by impermeable rock layers. The water from springs is usually clear and cold, having been filtered through layers of rock and sand. Many rivers begin at springs, their headwaters bubbling from the earth fully formed. Some springs are seasonal, flowing only when the water table is high. Others are perennial, flowing year-round. Springs have always been important to humans and wildlife alike, reliable sources of fresh water even in arid regions. They create oases, green zones in deserts where life concentrates. Ancient peoples considered springs sacred, believing they were gifts from gods or spirits. Today, many springs are threatened by overpumping of groundwater, which lowers the water table and can cause springs to diminish or dry up entirely. Aquifers feed rivers during dry periods. Rivers don't just depend on rain and snowmelt. During dry spells, water stored underground in aquifers continues to flow into rivers through seeps and springs, maintaining what's called base flow. An aquifer is a layer of porous rock or sediment saturated with water. These underground reservoirs can be vast, holding more water than all the rivers and lakes combined. Water moves through aquifers slowly, sometimes taking decades or centuries to travel from where it soaks in to where it emerges. This slow movement acts as a buffer, storing water during wet periods and releasing it gradually during droughts. Rivers whose watersheds have good aquifers maintain flow year-round. Those without may become seasonal, drying up when rain stops. Human activities can disrupt this balance. Excessive pumping of groundwater for irrigation or urban use lowers the water table, reducing the water available to feed rivers. In some regions, rivers that once flowed year-round now dry up in summer because the aquifer is depleted. Understanding the connection between groundwater and rivers is essential for sustainable water management. Karst topography creates landscapes of sinkholes and disappearing streams. In regions underlain by soluble rock like limestone, a distinctive landscape called karst develops. Over time, slightly acidic rainwater dissolves the rock, creating underground drainage systems. On the surface, this produces unusual features. Sinkholes appear suddenly when the ground collapses into cavities below. Streams may flow into these sinkholes and disappear, continuing their journey underground. The landscape becomes pockmarked and irregular, with little surface drainage. Instead of valleys and river systems, water moves vertically and underground. Some streams disappear and reappear multiple times, sinking at one location and emerging miles away. This makes mapping water flow challenging. What looks like separate springs might actually be the same underground river emerging at different points. Karst regions are beautiful but fragile. The underground water systems are easily contaminated, as pollutants can travel quickly through the porous rock, and the hidden nature of the water makes conservation difficult. You can't protect what you can't see. Karst teaches us that rivers are not always visible, that much of the planet's water flows in darkness beneath our feet. Hot springs occur where geothermal heat warms groundwater. Some springs emerge at temperatures far above normal. These hot springs occur where groundwater comes into contact with hot rock deep underground, often near volcanic regions or tectonic plate boundaries. The heated water rises back to the surface, sometimes boiling hot. Hot springs can feed streams and rivers, creating unique thermal environments. The water is often rich in dissolved minerals, depositing colorful travertine formations around the spring. Each hot spring has its own chemistry, and different minerals create different colors. Iron produces oranges and reds, sulfur creates yellows, while various bacteria and algae that thrive in the hot water add greens and browns. Some hot springs are acidic enough to burn skin, others are pleasantly warm and have been used as natural baths for thousands of years. Yellowstone National Park is famous for its hot springs and geysers, with thousands of thermal features. The hot water creates ecosystems unlike any other, hosting specialized bacteria that can survive in boiling, acidic conditions. These extremophiles have taught scientists about the limits of life and may hold clues to how life began on Earth. Rivers in different climates. Desert rivers sustain life in the harshest environments. In deserts where rainfall is scarce, rivers are ribbons of life. These waterways, fed by distant mountains or underground sources, carve green corridors through barren landscapes. The Nile flowing through the Sahara, the Colorado through the American Southwest. These rivers have sustained human civilizations for millennia in regions that would otherwise be uninhabitable. Desert rivers are often seasonal or ephemeral. Dry washes, called arroyos or wadis, might not see water for years. Then a distant thunderstorm sends a flash flood roaring down the channel, a wall of water and debris that appears and vanishes within hours. But even these brief flows are vital, recharging groundwater and allowing drought-adapted plants to complete their life cycles. Permanent desert rivers create oases, places where trees, birds, and animals concentrate. Wildlife that would otherwise be spread thin across vast areas gathers along these precious water sources. For humans too, desert rivers are lifelines. Ancient trade routes followed them, cities grew beside them, and entire cultures developed around their rhythms. In the desert, water is everything, and rivers are the difference between life and death. Tropical rivers flow through the world's richest ecosystems. In tropical regions with abundant rainfall, rivers take on a different character. They tend to be large, warm, and brown with sediment. They flow through dense rainforests, where life explodes in every direction. The Amazon basin contains the greatest diversity of freshwater fish on Earth, over 3,000 species. Many are still unknown to science, hidden in remote tributaries. Tropical rivers flood seasonally, inundating vast areas of forest. These flooded forests, called varzea along the Amazon, become aquatic worlds, where fish swim among tree trunks and eat fruits that drop from branches. When waters recede, nutrients are left behind, fertilizing the forest floor. This annual pulse of flooding and draining drives the ecology of tropical rivers, creating habitats found nowhere else. The rivers are warmer year-round, which accelerates biological processes and allows greater diversity. But this richness is under threat. Deforestation, dam building, pollution, and climate change are altering tropical rivers faster than we can study them. Many species may disappear before we even know they existed. Arctic rivers freeze solid in winter and explode to life in summer. In the far north, rivers experience extreme seasonal changes. During the long, dark winter, they freeze solid, becoming highways of ice. Some communities use frozen rivers for transportation, driving trucks across them to reach remote areas. Beneath the ice, life slows almost to a standstill. Fish become torpid, their metabolism dropping to minimal levels. Then, as spring arrives and temperatures rise, the ice begins to break up. This is one of the most dramatic events in the Arctic. Sheets of ice crack and collide, piling up in enormous jams that can temporarily block the river, causing flooding upstream. Once the ice breaks free, the river surges with meltwater, rising rapidly. This spring flood, combined with 24 hours of daylight, triggers an explosion of life. Insects hatch, birds return from migration, and fish become active again. The short Arctic summer is a race against time, with species compressing reproduction and growth into a few brief months before winter returns. Arctic rivers are landscapes of extremes, testing the limits of survival. Monsoon rivers transform dramatically with seasonal rains. In much of South and Southeast Asia, Africa, and parts of South America, the monsoon dominates river behavior. For half the year, there's little rain, and rivers shrink. Then the monsoon arrives, bringing months of heavy rainfall. Rivers that were modest streams become roaring floods. The change is dramatic and predictable, and life has adapted to it. Fish migrate upriver to spawn in flooded plains. Rice paddies fill, allowing cultivation. Frogs breed in temporary pools. The seasonal flood is not a disaster, but an expected part of the annual cycle. However, when monsoons are unusually strong or weak, problems arise. Too much rain causes devastating floods that wash away homes and crops. Too little brings drought, and rivers may not fill at all, leading to water shortages and failed harvests. Climate change is making monsoon patterns less predictable, creating uncertainty for the hundreds of millions who depend on monsoon rivers. These rivers embody the challenges of living with nature's rhythms, requiring adaptation and respect for forces beyond human control. Mountain rivers rush cold and clear from high elevations. In steep mountain terrain, rivers are different from their lowland cousins. They're faster, colder, and clearer. Fed by snowmelt and glaciers, mountain streams tumble down rocky channels in a rush toward gentler slopes. The water is often just above freezing, even in summer. The high oxygen content and cold temperatures create ideal conditions for trout and other cold water species. Mountain rivers are typically boulder-strewn, with water cascading around and over obstacles, creating the whitewater that thrill-seekers love. These rivers are also powerful sculptors, carving V-shaped valleys and polishing rocks smooth. During spring snowmelt, they can become torrents, dangerous and uncrossable. By late summer, after the snowpack is exhausted, they may shrink to a fraction of their peak flow. Mountain rivers are ephemeral in human terms, but ancient on geological timescales. They've been cutting down through the mountains for millions of years, lowering peaks one grain of sand at a time. River plants and trees, willows, thrive along riverbanks with their roots in moisture. Certain trees are almost synonymous with rivers. Willows, with their graceful drooping branches and narrow leaves, are pioneer species along waterways. They grow quickly in the wet soil of riverbanks, and their extensive root systems help stabilize the soil, preventing erosion. Willows can tolerate flooding, even thriving with their roots submerged for parts of the year. They reproduce easily, with branches that fall into the water, sometimes taking root downstream and growing into new trees. This ability to spread makes them important for ecosystem recovery after floods. Willow thickets provide habitat for countless birds and small mammals. Their branches are food for beavers, which use them to build dams and lodges. In many cultures, willows have symbolic significance, often associated with water, grief, and flexibility. The weeping willow, with its particularly pendulous branches, is a common ornamental tree. But even in the wild, willows have an unmistakable beauty, their foliage shimmering in the breeze above the flowing water, a living link between earth and river. Cottonwoods release millions of seeds on the wind each spring. Another iconic river tree is the cottonwood, particularly common along rivers in western North America. These tall, fast-growing trees are adapted to the dynamic environment of river floodplains. In late spring, mature cottonwoods release their seeds, each attached to a tuft of cottony fibers that catch the wind. Millions of these seeds drift through the air, accumulating in drifts that look like snow. Most will never germinate, but those that land on fresh, wet sand or mud, often deposited by recent floods, have a chance. Cottonwoods need these disturbances to reproduce successfully. Their seedlings require full sun and moist soil, conditions found on fresh riverbanks after floods have scoured away competing vegetation. As the trees mature, they create shady groves that provide habitat for countless species. There, leaves rustle distinctively in the slightest breeze, creating a sound like distant applause. Cottonwoods are relatively short-lived as trees go, perhaps 100 years, but during that time, they are vital components of riparian ecosystems. Reeds and rushes create dense stands in shallow waters. Where rivers slow and shallow out, aquatic plants take over. Reeds, rushes, cattails, and similar plants grow with their roots in mud and their stems emerging above water. They form dense stands that can extend for acres, creating marshes and wetlands along river margins. These plants are incredibly productive, growing rapidly and accumulating biomass. When they die back each year, their stems and leaves fall into the water, providing food and habitat for invertebrates, fish, and waterfowl. The dense growth also slows water flow, allowing sediment to settle out and improving water quality. It provides cover for fish fry and nesting sites for birds. Many species of ducks, herons, and other waterbirds build their nests hidden within reed beds. The plants also help stabilize sediment, preventing erosion. Humans have used reeds for thousands of years, weaving them into baskets, mats, and even boats. The ancient Egyptians made papyrus from reed-like plants growing along the Nile, creating the first practical writing material. Today, wetland plants are recognized as valuable for water purification, and constructed wetlands are sometimes used to treat wastewater naturally. River, algae, coat rocks, and feed entire food webs. If you've ever picked up a rock from a river, you've probably noticed it's slippery. That slime is algae, microscopic plants growing in a thin film on submerged surfaces. This periphyton, as scientists call it, is the foundation of many river food webs. Using sunlight, water, and nutrients, these algae photosynthesize, creating organic matter from inorganic ingredients. Insects graze on them, scraping them off rocks with specialized mouthparts. Those insects are eaten by fish, which are eaten by birds and larger fish. The health of the algae community directly affects everything upstream in the food web. Clear, well-lit rivers support more algae. Shaded streams have less, but may receive energy from falling leaves instead. Nutrient levels matter too. Some nutrients, like nitrogen and phosphorus, are essential for algae growth, but too much, often from agricultural runoff or sewage, causes excessive growth, turning the water murky green and depleting oxygen. Balancing nutrient levels is key to river health. Those slippery rocks are actually solar panels, capturing sunlight and turning it into energy that flows through the entire ecosystem. Floating plants drift along slow-moving river sections. In quiet stretches of rivers, especially in warm climates, you might encounter floating plants drifting with the current. Water hyacinth, with its purple flowers, is beautiful but invasive, sometimes choking waterways and blocking navigation. Duckweed, tiny green plants no bigger than a fingernail, can cover still water with a solid green carpet. Water lettuce forms rosettes of leaves floating on the surface. These plants have adapted to a rootless existence, drifting freely and absorbing nutrients directly from the water. They reproduce rapidly, doubling their population in days under ideal conditions. While native floating plants are part of healthy ecosystems, providing food for waterfowl and shade that cools the water, invasive floating plants can be disasters. They block sunlight, preventing algae and submerged plants from photosynthesizing. When they die, their decomposition consumes oxygen, creating dead zones where fish cannot survive. They can clog irrigation intakes and boat propellers. Controlling them is difficult and expensive. The lesson is clear. Rivers are interconnected systems where even small plants can have outsized impacts. Rivers and climate rivers help regulate regional climates through evaporation and moisture. Rivers are not just passive features of the landscape, they actively influence climate. The water in rivers evaporates continuously, especially in warm, dry regions. This evaporation adds moisture to the air, which can increase humidity and cloud formation. In hot climates, this can moderate temperatures, making areas near rivers cooler than surrounding lands. The moisture evaporating from rivers eventually condenses and falls as rain, sometimes far away, but also locally, contributing to the water cycle. Large rivers, especially in tropical regions, contribute significantly to regional rainfall patterns. The Amazon River and its basin create so much evaporation and transpiration from the rainforest that the moisture recycles multiple times, generating rain that feeds the river system in a self-reinforcing cycle. This means that the river doesn't just respond to climate, it helps create it. Damming or diverting rivers can have unexpected climatic effects, reducing local moisture and potentially affecting rainfall patterns. Protecting rivers is not just about water supply, but about maintaining the broader climate systems that support entire regions. Climate change is altering river flows worldwide. As global temperatures rise, rivers are changing. In mountain regions, glaciers that have fed rivers for thousands of years are melting rapidly. Initially, this increases river flow as stored ice is released. But once the glaciers are gone, the rivers will have less water, especially in late summer when snowmelt is exhausted. Already, some rivers dependent on glaciers are showing reduced late-season flows. Precipitation patterns are shifting too. Some regions are getting wetter, leading to increased flooding. Others are getting drier, with more frequent and severe droughts. The timing of precipitation is also changing. Instead of steady seasonal patterns, rain comes in intense bursts, followed by dry periods. This makes river flow more variable and less predictable, complicating water management. Warmer water temperatures affect aquatic ecosystems, stressing cold water species like trout and salmon. The combined effects of climate change on rivers are profound and mostly negative, threatening water supplies, ecosystems, and communities worldwide. Understanding and adapting to these changes is one of the great challenges of our time. Rivers transport nutrients and sediment that nourish distant ecosystems. Rivers don't just carry water, they carry the land itself. Grain by grain, sediment eroded from mountains is transported downstream, eventually depositing in deltas, floodplains, or the ocean. This sediment is often rich in nutrients, minerals, and organic matter. When rivers flood and spread this material across floodplains, they fertilize the soil, making it highly productive. The annual flooding of the Nile created the agricultural richness that supported ancient Egypt. Today, dams trap much of this sediment, preventing it from reaching downstream areas. This has consequences. Deltas are shrinking because new sediment isn't arriving to replace what's eroded by waves. Coastal wetlands are disappearing. Floodplain soils are becoming less fertile, requiring more fertilizer. In the ocean, sediment plumes from rivers create nutrient-rich zones that support fisheries. The nutrients carried by rivers feed phytoplankton, which feed small fish, which feed larger fish, sustaining entire marine food webs. Rivers are lifelines not just for the lands they flow through, but for distant coastal and marine ecosystems as well. Floods are natural events that rivers need to maintain health. We often think of floods as disasters, and for human communities they can be. But from an ecological perspective, floods are essential. They are how rivers maintain their natural form and function. Floods redistribute sediment, creating new habitat. They connect the river to its floodplain, allowing fish to access spawning areas and feeding grounds. They recharge wetlands and groundwater. They prune vegetation and deposit nutrients. Life in river ecosystems has evolved with flooding. Many plants and animals depend on the seasonal flood pulse. Fish time their spawning to coincide with high water. Plants germinate in fresh sediment after floods recede. Without occasional floods, rivers become simplified, losing complexity and biodiversity. Ironically, efforts to prevent flooding with levees and dams can make eventual floods worse because they prevent the small, frequent floods that maintain the system. When levees fail or are overtopped, the resulting flood is more devastating. There's a growing recognition that we need to work with rivers, allowing them space to flood in designated areas rather than trying to eliminate flooding entirely. Living with rivers means understanding and accommodating their natural rhythms. Rivers once ran clear before human activities increased sediment. Historical accounts from early explorers often describe rivers as remarkably clear. You could see the bottom even in deep water. Fish were visible swimming in the current. Today, many of these same rivers are murky, laden with sediment that turns the water brown or grey. What changed? Human land use. When forests are cleared, when prairies are ploughed, when construction leaves bare soil exposed, erosion increases dramatically. Rain washes soil into streams, which carry it to rivers. Overgrazing by livestock removes vegetation that holds soil in place. Road building and urbanization create impervious surfaces that increase runoff. The result is that rivers carry far more sediment than they did historically. This has consequences. Excess sediment smothers habitat, covering the clean gravel where fish spawn and the rocks where insects live. It clouds the water, making it hard for fish to see prey or for plants to photosynthesize. It fills in pools and reservoirs. While some sediment is natural and necessary, the current levels in many rivers are far beyond what ecosystems evolved with. Restoring rivers means addressing the sources of excessive erosion, stabilizing soil, and replanting vegetation. It means working at the landscape scale, recognizing that what happens on land affects what happens in water. Threats to rivers pollution degrades water quality and harms aquatic life. Rivers have long been treated as convenient places to dispose of waste. For centuries, cities dumped sewage directly into rivers. Industries released chemical byproducts, and farms allowed fertilizers and pesticides to wash into waterways. The result is that many rivers are polluted, sometimes severely. Organic pollution from sewage consumes oxygen as it decomposes, creating dead zones where fish cannot survive. Chemical pollutants can be toxic even in small amounts, causing mutations, reproductive failures, and death in aquatic organisms. Nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus from agricultural runoff cause algal blooms that turn water green and produce toxins. Heavy metals from mining and industry accumulate in sediments and work their way up the food chain. Microplastics, tiny fragments of plastic pollution, are now found even in remote rivers, ingested by everything from insects to fish. While regulations in many countries have reduced the most obvious forms of pollution, problems persist. In developing nations, many rivers receive untreated sewage and industrial waste. Even in developed countries, diffuse pollution from urban and agricultural runoff remains difficult to control. Cleaning up polluted rivers is possible, but requires sustained effort, investment, and political will. Dams fragment rivers and block fish migration routes. While dams provide benefits, they also fragment rivers into isolated segments. Fish and other organisms that need to move along the river find their paths blocked. Salmon that once swam hundreds of miles upstream to spawn cannot reach their traditional grounds. Eels that need to travel from rivers to the ocean to reproduce are trapped. Even fish that don't migrate long distances need to move between different habitats for feeding, spawning, and shelter. A dam prevents this, isolating populations. Over time, isolated populations become less diverse, genetically, more vulnerable to disease, and less able to adapt to changing conditions. Dams also disrupt the transport of sediment and nutrients, altering the river's structure downstream. Water released from dams is often colder or warmer than natural, drawn from deep in the reservoir, which can stress species adapted to seasonal temperature changes. In recent decades, there's been growing recognition of these problems. Some dams are being removed, especially older ones that no longer serve their original purpose. Fish ladders and other passage structures help, but they're not perfect. The challenge is balancing human needs for water, power, and flood control with the ecological needs of healthy, connected river systems. Over-extraction of water leaves rivers dry in many regions. In arid and semi-arid regions, and even in some wetter areas, people are taking more water from rivers than nature replenishes. Water is diverted for irrigation, piped to cities, and used by industries. In many cases, so much is removed that rivers shrink dramatically or dry up completely before reaching the sea. The Colorado River in the southwestern United States rarely reaches the Gulf of California anymore, all its water consumed before it gets there. The Yellow River in China and the Murray-Darling in Australia have faced similar fates. The consequences are severe. Ecosystems collapse when water disappears. Fish die, birds abandon nesting sites, and riverside vegetation withers. Deltas shrink, and coastal ecosystems suffer from lack of fresh water and sediment. Communities that depend on the river for fishing, agriculture, or drinking water face hardship. The problem is often political as much as physical. Water rights are contested, with upstream users taking more than their share, while downstream users suffer. International rivers crossing multiple countries face even more complex challenges. Solving over-extraction requires cooperation, regulation, improved efficiency, and sometimes difficult choices about which water uses to prioritize. Invasive species disrupt native river ecosystems. When species from one part of the world are introduced to rivers elsewhere, they can become invasive, outcompeting native species and fundamentally altering ecosystems. Asian carp, introduced to control algae in fish farms and wastewater treatment ponds in the United States, escaped into rivers and now dominate sections of the Mississippi Basin, crowding out native fish. Zebra mussels, accidentally introduced from Europe, coat surfaces in rivers and lakes, clogging water intake pipes and altering food webs. Water hyacinth, a South American plant, has choked rivers across Africa and Asia. Invasive species often thrive because they lack the natural predators, parasites, and competitors that kept them in check in their native ranges. They can reproduce rapidly and adapt to new conditions. Once established, they're extremely difficult to remove. Prevention is more effective than cure, but in our globalized world, species travel in ballast water, on boats, in aquarium releases, and through intentional introductions gone wrong. Managing invasive species requires vigilance, rapid response to new introductions, and public education about the importance of not releasing pets, plants, or bait into waterways. Habitat destruction from development threatens river health. Rivers don't exist in isolation. They're intimately connected to the surrounding landscape. When that landscape is altered through development, agriculture, logging, or mining, rivers suffer. Vegetation along riverbanks, called riparian zones, is critical for river health. Trees and shrubs shade the water, keeping it cool. Their roots stabilize banks, preventing erosion. They filter pollutants from runoff before it reaches the river. When riparian vegetation is removed, water temperatures rise, sediment increases, and pollution worsens. Development in floodplains forces rivers into narrow channels, disconnecting them from wetlands and backwaters. Channelization, straightening rivers to speed water flow, eliminates the meanders and pools that provide diverse habitats. Wetlands are drained, removing natural water storage and filtration. The cumulative effect of many small impacts can be as devastating as a single large project. Protecting rivers requires protecting entire watersheds, from headwaters to mouth, including forests, wetlands, and floodplains. It means recognizing that land use and water quality are inseparable, that what we do on land shows up in our rivers. River conservation and restoration. Some rivers are being restored to more natural conditions. After decades of degradation, there's growing movement to restore rivers. This doesn't mean returning them to pristine wilderness, which is often impossible, but rather improving their health and function. Dam removal is one dramatic form of restoration. When an old dam is taken down, the river flows freely again, reconnecting upstream and downstream sections. Sediment trapped behind the dam washes downstream, and fish can migrate. In the United States, over 1,000 dams have been removed, with remarkable ecological recoveries. Rivers can also be restored by removing levees and reconnecting them to floodplains. planting riparian vegetation, adding large wood and boulders to create habitat complexity, and reducing pollution sources. These projects often involve partnerships between government agencies, conservation groups, private landowners, and communities. They require patience, as river ecosystems recover gradually, sometimes taking decades. But the results can be striking. Fish populations rebound, birds return, water quality improves, and people reconnect with rivers they had written off as lost. River restoration is an act of hope, a recognition that even damaged rivers can heal if given the chance and the right support. Protected river corridors preserve critical habitats. One effective conservation strategy is establishing protected corridors along rivers. These designated areas restrict harmful activities while allowing the river and its adjacent lands to function naturally. National parks, wildlife refuges, and wilderness areas often include river systems. These protected rivers serve as benchmarks, showing us what healthy rivers look like and supporting species that have disappeared elsewhere. They provide places for research and education. They maintain genetic diversity that can help repopulate degraded rivers. Some rivers are designated as wild and scenic, a status that provides federal protection in the United States. Other countries have similar programs, but protection on paper isn't enough. It requires enforcement, adequate funding, and management that respects ecological needs. It also requires looking beyond boundaries. A protected stretch of river can still be impacted by what happens upstream. Effective protection means managing entire watersheds, coordinating across jurisdictions, and engaging all stakeholders. Rivers don't respect human boundaries, and neither can conservation efforts. Citizen science helps monitor river health. Rivers are vast, and monitoring them requires extensive effort. Increasingly, ordinary citizens are helping. Volunteer groups adopt river sections, regularly testing water quality, counting fish, removing trash, and reporting problems. Students collect macroinvertebrates, tiny animals whose presence or absence indicates water quality. Kayakers and anglers provide observations of conditions and wildlife. This citizen science serves multiple purposes. It generates data that agencies couldn't afford to collect otherwise, helping identify problems early. It builds awareness and connection, turning abstract environmental issues into personal concerns. When people regularly visit a river, they notice changes and care about its health. They become advocates, pushing for better protection and management. Citizen science also democratizes environmental monitoring, moving it from the exclusive realm of experts to a shared community activity. Technology helps, with apps for reporting observations and databases for sharing data. The result is a more comprehensive understanding of river health and a more engaged public, committed to protecting these waterways. Sustainable water use balances human needs with ecological health. The fundamental challenge with rivers is that we need their water for human uses, while also needing healthy rivers for the services they provide, from fisheries to flood control to cultural and recreational values. Finding balance is difficult but essential. Sustainable water use means taking only what can be spared without compromising river health. It means improving efficiency, using less water to accomplish the same tasks. Drip irrigation instead of flood irrigation, low-flow toilets and water-efficient appliances, treating and reusing wastewater. It means choosing crops and landscaping suited to local conditions rather than forcing water-intensive plants into dry climates. It means pricing water to reflect its true value and scarcity rather than subsidizing wasteful use. It also means recognizing that rivers themselves are users of water, that they need flow to function. Environmental flow standards, determining how much water a river needs in each season to maintain health, are increasingly being adopted. The challenge is implementation, especially where water rights are long established and powerful interests benefit from the status quo. But the alternative, degraded rivers and depleted water supplies, benefits no one in the long run. Indigenous peoples offer valuable river stewardship knowledge. For thousands of years before modern environmental science, Indigenous peoples developed sophisticated understanding of rivers and their management. This traditional ecological knowledge, passed down through generations, offers insights that complement scientific approaches. Indigenous communities often view rivers holistically, seeing connections that reductionist science might miss. They recognize rivers as living entities deserving respect, not just resources to exploit. Their management practices, like periodic burning to maintain riparian vegetation, controlled harvest of fish to maintain populations, and seasonal migration that allowed river ecosystems to rest, often sustained resources indefinitely. Today, there's growing recognition that involving Indigenous peoples in river management improves outcomes. Their knowledge of local conditions, long-term observations, and different perspectives can identify problems and solutions that outsiders miss. Many successful restoration projects incorporate traditional practices. This partnership requires genuine respect and shared decision-making, not just token consultation. It means acknowledging historical injustices, where Indigenous peoples were displaced from rivers they had stewarded for centuries. Increasingly, some rivers and lands are being returned to Indigenous management, recognizing both their rights and their expertise. The spiritual and cultural importance of rivers. Many religions consider rivers sacred and spiritually powerful. Across cultures and throughout history, rivers have been invested with spiritual significance. The Ganges is sacred to Hindus, believed to be the goddess Ganga descended from heaven. Bathing in its waters is said to purify the soul. The Jordan River is central to Christianity, the site where Jesus was baptized. The Nile was deified by ancient Egyptians, its annual floods seen as divine blessings. For many Indigenous peoples worldwide, rivers are not just physical entities, but living spirits with whom humans have relationships. These beliefs are not mere superstition, but reflect deep recognition of rivers' fundamental importance to life. By treating rivers as sacred, cultures built in respect and restraint, you don't carelessly pollute or destroy what you hold holy. Religious practices often include river care, from ceremonial cleaning to rules about waste disposal. In modern times, as rivers have become degraded, religious leaders are increasingly speaking out, framing environmental protection in spiritual terms. This can be powerful, reaching people in ways that scientific arguments might not. The sacred and the practical unite in recognizing that rivers are precious and deserve our reverence and care. Rivers feature prominently in mythology and folklore worldwide. Every culture with rivers has stories about them. The ancient Greeks told of Styx, the river that separated the living world from the realm of the dead, which souls crossed in Charon's ferry. Norse mythology had rivers of venom flowing through the underworld. Chinese legends speak of the Dragon King who controlled rivers, floods, and rain. African folklore includes stories of river spirits who must be appeased. In Irish tradition, the River Boyne was associated with the goddess Boann. These myths reflect rivers' mystery and power. Before science explained their workings, people created stories to make sense of them. Why do rivers flood? The gods are angry. Why does a particular bend have dangerous currents? A monster lives there. These stories served practical purposes too, encoding warnings about real dangers and wisdom about living near water. They also express emotions. Rivers as sources of life and death, gateways between worlds, dwelling places of the divine or monstrous. Today, these old stories remain culturally important, connecting people to their heritage and reminding us that rivers are more than H2O flowing downhill. They're woven into the fabric of human meaning-making. Rivers inspire art, music, and literature. The beauty and power of rivers have inspired countless artists. Painters have captured their light and motion, from Monet's water lilies in the Seine to Chinese landscape paintings where rivers flow through misty mountains. Photographers chase the perfect image of waterfalls or rivers winding through wilderness. Musicians have written songs about rivers: Old Man River, Down by the River, each expressing different emotions rivers evoke. Rivers appear in literature as settings, symbols, and characters. Mark Twain's Mississippi in Huckleberry Finn, Joseph Conrad's Congo in Heart of Darkness, Kenneth Grahame's Thames in The Wind in the Willows. Rivers represent journeys, boundaries, the passage of time, the flow of life itself. They're liminal spaces, neither land nor sea, constantly changing yet always there. Their movement makes them dynamic, never the same twice. Artists are drawn to this quality, finding endless inspiration in water's play of light, its sounds, its moods. River art connects us emotionally to waterways, helping us see their beauty and value beyond utilitarian considerations. Communities gather along rivers for recreation and connection. Rivers bring people together. They're places to swim on hot summer days, to fish quietly in early morning, to paddle kayaks through rapids or drift lazily in inner tubes. Families picnic along their banks. Couples walk hand in hand beside flowing water. Children skip stones and build dams in the shallows. These activities create memories and bonds. Rivers become parts of our personal stories. The place where you first learned to fish with your grandfather, where you proposed to your spouse, where you bring your children to show them the great blue heron's nest. Communities often organize around rivers, with festivals, races, and cleanup events that strengthen social connections while celebrating local waterways. River paths and greenways provide space for walking and cycling, promoting health and providing car-free recreation. In cities, renewed waterfronts have become focal points, turning away from industrial pasts toward mixed-use areas where people live, work, and play by the water. This reconnection between communities and their rivers is vital. People protect what they love, and love grows from personal connection and positive experiences. Writers have used rivers as metaphors for life's journey. The river as metaphor appears constantly in writing and speech. You can't step in the same river twice, observed the ancient Greek philosopher Heraclitus, noting that both you and the river are constantly changing. Rivers flow in one direction, like time. They begin small and grow, like lives accumulating experiences. They encounter obstacles but find ways around, suggesting persistence and adaptability. They merge with others, suggesting relationships and community. They eventually reach the sea, suggesting death or fulfillment. These metaphors resonate because they feel true to our experience. Life does flow and change. We are carried by forces beyond our control, yet we can navigate to some degree. Go with the flow advises accepting what we cannot change. Still waters run deep suggests that quiet people may have hidden depths. Don't cross that bridge until you come to it. Uses river crossings to discuss dealing with future problems. These sayings are so common we barely notice them, but they reveal how deeply rivers are embedded in how we think about existence. Rivers give us language for discussing the ineffable, for talking about time, change, and the journey from source to sea. Small streams and headwaters. Small streams form the veins of watersheds. Every great river begins with countless small streams. These first-order streams, often narrow enough to step across, are the most numerous parts of river networks. They drain hillsides and valleys, gathering rainfall and groundwater seepage. Collectively, small streams represent the vast majority of total stream length in a watershed. Though individually modest, their combined contribution is enormous. These streams are often steep and fast-flowing, tumbling over rocks and cutting channels through soil. They're intimately connected to the surrounding land, receiving leaves, woody debris, and nutrients from nearby vegetation. Because they're small, they're strongly influenced by local conditions. Shade from trees keeps water cool. A landslide can completely alter a stream's course. Small streams are critical for biodiversity, often harboring specialized species found nowhere else. They're also nurseries, where fish spawn and juveniles grow before moving to larger rivers. Yet small streams are often overlooked in conservation and regulation, falling below size thresholds for protection. This is short-sighted because damage to headwaters affects everything downstream. Protecting rivers means protecting entire networks, including the smallest channels. Creek beds go dry seasonally in many regions. Not every stream flows year-round. Ephemeral streams flow only during and immediately after rainfall. Their beds dry most of the time. Intermittent streams flow seasonally, typically during wet seasons or snowmelt, then dry up in summer or drought. These temporary waterways are common, especially in arid and Mediterranean climates. Though they lack permanent water, they're ecologically important. When flowing, they support aquatic life. Some species complete their entire life cycles during the wet months. Others survive dry periods as dormant eggs or by burrowing into moist mud. Amphibians use these streams for breeding, timing, reproduction, to match water availability. Even dry creek beds serve functions. They're channels for occasional flows, moving water and sediment during storms. Their connected networks remain intact, ready to activate when rain comes. Vegetation along dry streams often stays green, tapping groundwater. For wildlife, these corridors provide cover and travel routes. From a human perspective, understanding which streams are temporary is important for water management and for avoiding building in places that become raging torrents during storms. Spring-fed streams maintain constant cool temperatures. Some streams are fed primarily by springs, where groundwater emerges at relatively constant temperatures year-round. These spring streams have unique characteristics. Their flow is steady, varying little between seasons. The water is usually clear, having been filtered through rock and sediment. Most importantly, the temperature is stable. Even in summer heat or winter cold, spring streams maintain temperatures close to the average annual air temperature of their region. This constancy creates specialized habitats. Species adapted to specific temperature ranges can thrive without the stress of seasonal extremes. Cold water fish like trout favor spring-fed streams, finding refuge from warm summer temperatures that stress them in other waters. Aquatic plants and invertebrates also specialize, creating communities distinct from those in surface runoff-fed streams. For humans, spring streams have always been valuable, providing reliable water supplies. Many towns and settlements originated at springs. In dry regions, spring-fed streams can be the only permanent water for miles, creating oases that support disproportionate biodiversity and human activity. Seeps create wet spots that sustain life in dry seasons. Sometimes water emerges not as a defined spring, but as a seep, a wet area where groundwater slowly oozes from the soil. Seeps keep ground moist, creating patches of green vegetation even in otherwise dry landscapes. They may be small, just a few square meters, but they're vital. Amphibians breed in seep pools. Salamanders, especially plethodontid species that breathe through their skin, depend on seeps for moisture. Certain plants specialize in seep habitats, found nowhere else. Seeps also feed small streams, contributing base flow that keeps them from drying completely. In mountains, seeps can be beautiful features, with water trickling down rock faces, supporting ferns and mosses that drape the stone in green. In dry seasons, wildlife concentrates around seeps, drinking from the moisture-rich soil. For humans in backcountry, finding seeps can mean the difference between having water or not. They're easily disturbed, though. Trampling by livestock, altered drainage from roads, or lowered water tables from pumping can dry up seeps, eliminating their unique ecosystems. Protecting these small features contributes to landscape-scale biodiversity and resilience. Headwater protection prevents downstream problems. There's a saying in hydrology, protect the source. Headwaters set the conditions for everything downstream. If headwaters are degraded, polluted, or destroyed, the entire river system suffers. Sediment from headwater erosion travels downstream, burying habitat. Pollutants introduced at the source affect all users below. Loss of headwater wetlands eliminates water storage, leading to flashier flows, higher flood peaks, and lower dry season flows. Conversely, protecting headwaters provides downstream benefits far exceeding the small size of protected areas. Clean headwaters mean clean rivers. Healthy headwater ecosystems provide spawning habitat that sustains fish populations throughout the system. Intact headwater forests regulate flow, releasing water gradually. This is why many conservation strategies focus on headwaters. They're often in remote, undeveloped areas where protection is more feasible and less expensive than in downstream urban areas. They're also where intervention is most effective. Preventing damage is easier and cheaper than restoration. For communities and ecosystems downstream, healthy headwaters are insurance, maintaining the quantity and quality of water that everything depends on. River adventures and exploration explorers once followed rivers into unknown territories. Throughout history, rivers have been pathways into the unknown. Early explorers used them as routes through unmapped lands. In North America, rivers like the Mississippi, Columbia, and Fraser were highways for exploration. In Africa, the Nile, Congo, and Niger drew explorers seeking their sources. In South America, the Amazon beckoned with its immensity. Following a river meant reliable water, relatively easy travel by boat where possible, and a route that would eventually lead somewhere, as all rivers reach the sea or another river. But river exploration was dangerous. Rapids, waterfalls, and hostile territories made progress difficult. Many explorers died in the attempt. Yet rivers' allure remained strong, offering the promise of discovery, trade routes, and resources. Today, the era of exploration is mostly over. Satellites have mapped even the most remote rivers. Yet the romance remains. Descending a wild river, especially one rarely traveled, still provides a sense of discovery, of seeing landscapes the way early explorers did. Modern river runners can experience that same sense of adventure, moving through wilderness with only muscle and skill, dependent on the river's path. Rafting and kayaking offer thrilling ways to experience rivers. For many people, the most intimate way to know a river is from a boat. Whitewater rafting, with a group working together to navigate rapids, combines teamwork, excitement, and immersion in river environment. The boat rises and plunges with waves. Water splashes over the sides, and the roar of rapids surrounds you. Between rapids, there are calm stretches for catching breath, observing canyon walls, spotting wildlife, and simply floating with the current. Kayaking offers a more personal experience. You're alone in a small craft, responsible for your own line through rapids. The boat becomes an extension of your body. Skilled kayakers can navigate features that would destroy rafts, surfing waves, playing in holes, dropping over falls. But even beginner trips on calm water provide pleasures. The rhythm of paddling, the perspective from water level, the quiet glide through stillness. River trips often become transformative experiences. Days on the river strip away everyday concerns. Your world narrows to the present moment, reading water, making decisions, working with your companions. Nights are spent camped on sandbars, sleeping to the sound of flowing water. People emerge from river trips changed, refreshed, reconnected to something essential. Fly fishing connects anglers intimately to river ecosystems. Fly fishing is both sport and meditation. Unlike other fishing methods, fly fishing requires reading the river, understanding where fish hold in different flows and conditions, matching your artificial fly to the insects fish are eating, and casting with precision. You wade into the river, feeling current push against your legs, scanning for rises that indicate feeding fish. The cast is rhythmic, lines sailing back and forth before presenting the fly delicately on the surface. When a fish strikes, there's an electric moment before the fight begins. But fly fishing is about more than catching fish. It's about being in the river, observing hatches of aquatic insects, watching herons hunt, noticing how light changes through the day. Serious fly fishers become amateur entomologists, learning to identify mayflies, caddisflies, and stoneflies. They learn river ecology, understanding that healthy fish populations indicate healthy rivers. Many become conservationists, advocating for clean water and habitat protection. Catch and release ethics, handling fish carefully and returning them unharmed, reflects respect for the resource. Time spent fly fishing is time in attentive relationship with a river, learning its rhythms and inhabitants, participating in its life, rather than just extracting from it. River swimming provides joyful cooling on hot summer days. On a sweltering summer afternoon, there are few pleasures greater than jumping into a cool river. The initial shock as cold water closes over skin, the relief as heat dissipates, the sensation of current moving around your body, all combine into simple joy. River swimming is different from pools or lakes. The current adds an element of excitement and mild danger. You must gauge your abilities against flow, staying in safe areas. Popular swimming holes develop at calm pools below rapids, where rocks create natural diving platforms and eddies provide calm spots. Generations of local kids know these places, spending summers leaping from rocks, floating downstream, and climbing back for another jump. There's social bonding in these river gatherings. Families picnic along banks while children play in shallows. Teenagers prove courage with higher jumps. Adults wade waist deep, enjoying conversation and coolness. River swimming connects us physically to water in ways that seeing from the bank cannot. You feel the river's power, respect its force, understand why ancient peoples viewed it as alive. Safety matters, of course. Strong currents, cold water, submerged obstacles, and changing water levels pose real dangers. Drownings occur when people underestimate rivers. But with knowledge and respect, river swimming is among life's most refreshing pleasures. Photographers chase perfect light on rivers at dawn and dusk. Rivers inspire photographers. The combination of flowing water, reflected light, and surrounding landscapes creates endlessly variable compositions. The same stretch of river looks completely different depending on season, weather, time of day, and water level. Serious river photographers rise before dawn, positioning themselves while stars still shine. As the sun nears the horizon, light turns golden, mist rises from the water's surface, and magic happens. Long exposures blur the water into silky smoothness while rocks remain sharp. Autumn offers reflected colors. Winter brings ice formations. Spring provides dramatic high flows. Wildlife photographers stake out rivers, knowing animals come to water. Great blue herons standing motionless, otters playing, kingfishers diving. Each offers photo opportunities. The challenge is capturing movement. Rivers don't hold still. Shutter speeds must freeze or blur deliberately. Lighting changes moment to moment. The photographer must understand both technical craft and the river's rhythms, anticipating where light will hit, how the scene will develop. The best river photographs convey feeling as well as form, capturing not just what a river looks like, but what it feels like to be there. The peace or power, the flow and change, the living presence of water moving through landscape. Rivers in art and imagination. Rivers appear in paintings across artistic traditions. Artists have painted rivers for centuries, drawn to their beauty and symbolic richness. Chinese landscape paintings from centuries ago show rivers winding through misty mountains, humans dwarfed by nature's grandeur. European masters captured specific rivers, the Thames, the Seine, the Rhine, recording their cities and surrounding countryside. The Hudson River School in 19th century America celebrated wild rivers and sublime landscapes, influencing American environmental consciousness. Impressionists loved rivers, their broken brushstrokes perfect for capturing reflected light on water. Monet painted the Seine repeatedly, showing how the same scene changes with light and season. Contemporary artists continue the tradition, some focusing on environmental themes, documenting degraded rivers to inspire action, others celebrating rivers as sources of beauty and renewal. River paintings often include human elements, bridges, boats, buildings, showing our intimate relationship with waterways. They document history, revealing how rivers and their surroundings have changed. They also express emotions, rivers as peaceful refuges or dynamic forces, barriers or pathways, endings or beginnings. Through art, rivers enter our collective imagination, becoming more than physical features, becoming symbols, stories, and shared cultural touchstones. Rivers flow through poetry and songs about journeys and change. Writers have used rivers as poetic subjects forever. I've known rivers ancient as the world and older than the flow of human blood in human veins, wrote Langston Hughes, connecting rivers to deep history and identity. The river's tent is broken. The last fingers of leaf clutch and sink into the wet bank, wrote T.S. Eliot, using rivers to evoke loss and change. Poets are drawn to rivers' qualities, flow representing time's passage, current suggesting forces beyond control, the journey from source to sea, mirroring life's arc. Songs about rivers are countless, from Old Man River, expressing the enduring presence of the Mississippi, to more modern songs using rivers as metaphors for love, loss, and life itself. Some rivers become so entwined with song and story that they transcend geography. People who've never seen the Mississippi know it from literature and music. The Jordan, the Thames, the Ganges, all carry cultural weight beyond their physical reality. This is the power of art to shape meaning. Through poems and songs, rivers become vessels for human emotion and experience. their flow carrying not just water but stories, memories, and dreams downstream through generations. Children's stories often feature rivers as obstacles or gateways. In children's literature, rivers play important roles. They're boundaries that characters must cross, often representing challenges or transitions. The river marks the edge of the known world. Crossing it means entering adventure. Sometimes rivers are obstacles requiring cleverness to overcome. How will the characters get across? Will they build a raft, find a ford, or search for a bridge? The solution tests their ingenuity and courage. Other times, rivers are highways, carrying characters on journeys. They float downstream, seeing new lands, meeting different creatures. The river provides structure for episodic adventures, each bend revealing something new. Rivers in children's stories are often personified, having moods and intentions. Kindly rivers help heroes. Dangerous rivers guard treasures. This animistic view reflects children's natural tendency to see nature as alive and intentional. It also teaches respect, showing that rivers have power that must be acknowledged. Stories like The Wind in the Willows feature rivers as settings and characters. The river bank as home, the river itself as presence, shaping the lives of its residents. Through these stories, children develop relationships with rivers, seeing them as places of adventure, beauty, and sometimes danger, laying groundwork for later environmental awareness. Rivers symbolize boundaries between worlds in many mythologies. In many cultures, rivers mark boundaries between different realms. The ancient Greeks believed the dead crossed the river Styx to reach the underworld. In Norse mythology, rivers separated the world of humans from the realms of gods and giants. In Japanese folklore, rivers and streams were dwelling places of spirits, boundaries between human and supernatural worlds. This symbolic role makes sense. Rivers are natural boundaries, dividing lands and peoples. They're also transitional spaces, neither fully land nor water. Crossing a river is literally moving from one place to another, and this physical crossing readily becomes metaphorical. Myths often feature sacred or magical rivers with special properties. Drinking from them might grant wisdom or immortality. Bathing in them might heal wounds or wash away curses. These magical rivers appear in endless stories, from ancient epics to modern fantasy novels. They reflect the real importance of rivers to human survival, elevated to mythic significance. Rivers give life. In myth, they can give more than life. They're passages between states of being, between youth and adulthood, innocence and experience, life and death. As symbols, rivers carry meanings deeper than their waters. Documentaries about rivers raise environmental awareness. Film and television have brought rivers to audiences worldwide. Nature documentaries explore river ecosystems, showing species and habitats that most people would never encounter. High-quality cinematography captures the beauty of rivers, inspiring appreciation and wonder. Underwater cameras reveal the hidden world beneath the surface. Slow motion shows the power of rapids, the leap of salmon, the dive of kingfishers. These films also document problems, pollution, dams, over-extraction, species decline. Seeing the degradation can motivate action. Some documentaries follow rivers from source to sea, showing the diversity of environments and challenges along the way. Others focus on particular rivers, exploring their natural history, cultural significance, and current issues. Rivers and Life series, Blue Planet River episodes, films about specific rivers like the Mississippi or Mekong, all contribute to public understanding. They make rivers accessible to people far from any river, building constituencies for conservation. They also preserve images of rivers as they were creating records for future generations who may only know restored or degraded versions. In raising awareness and inspiring action, river documentaries serve both artistic and activist purposes, showing why rivers matter and why they're worth protecting. Living with rivers today, urban rivers are being restored as community assets. For much of the industrial age, cities treated rivers as sewers and industrial corridors. Buildings turned their backs on waterways. Rivers were hidden in culverts, channelized in concrete, polluted with waste. But in recent decades, attitudes have shifted. Cities are rediscovering their rivers, seeing them as assets rather than liabilities. River cleanup and restoration has become a priority. Former industrial waterfronts are being transformed into parks, trails, and mixed-use developments. The Thames in London, once declared biologically dead, now supports fish and otters. The Los Angeles River, long buried in concrete, is being restored to more natural conditions. Seoul removed a highway and uncovered a buried stream, creating a beloved urban greenway. These projects recognize that healthy rivers improve quality of life. They provide recreation, cooling, wildlife habitat, and connection to nature in dense urban settings. They also drive economic development, as property values rise near restored waterfronts. The challenges are real: balancing flood control, development pressure, ecology, and public access requires careful planning. But success stories are accumulating, showing that even heavily altered urban rivers can be brought back to health with commitment and investment. River trails connect communities to waterfronts. One simple but effective way to connect people with rivers is trails. Paths along riverbanks provide access for walking, running, cycling, and wheelchairs. They're democratic spaces, free and open to all, requiring no special equipment or skills. Good river trails accommodate casual strollers and serious athletes, solitary walkers, and social groups. They link parks, neighborhoods, and business districts, becoming corridors for commuting as well as recreation. Cities with extensive river trail systems, Portland, San Antonio, Chicago, find they're among their most used and beloved amenities. Trails bring people into regular contact with rivers, building familiarity and connection. Users notice changes in water level and quality, seasonal shifts, wildlife presence. This observation builds constituencies for river protection. Trails also tell stories, with interpretive signs explaining natural features, historical events, and ecological processes. They make rivers accessible to people who might never otherwise engage with them. Building river trails requires addressing challenges: private property, flood risk, habitat protection, maintenance. But the benefits for human health, community building, and environmental awareness make them worthwhile investments. Education programs teach children about river ecology and stewardship. Young people are future river stewards, and education shapes their relationship with waterways. Schools near rivers often incorporate them into curriculum, using them as living laboratories. Students test water quality, identifying pollution sources and tracking changes. They inventory aquatic insects, using their presence to assess ecosystem health. They release captive-bred salmon or trout, learning about fish life cycles. They participate in plantings, restoring riparian vegetation. These hands-on experiences create emotional connections that classroom lessons alone cannot. Children who've waded in a river, held a crayfish, watched salmon spawn, develop personal investment in that river's health. Educational programs also reach beyond schools. Nature centers, watershed councils, and conservation organizations offer river programs for families and community groups. River floats combine recreation with education, guides explaining ecology and history along the way. Citizen science programs engage people of all ages in data collection, contributing to real research while learning. This educational work is investment in the future. Today's children will make tomorrow's decisions about rivers, and their choices will depend on values formed now. Teaching them to see rivers as valuable, as alive, as deserving of care is essential for long-term conservation. Climate adaptation requires rethinking how we manage rivers. Climate change is forcing us to reconsider river management. Historical approaches assumed stable conditions, that past patterns would continue, but precipitation is becoming more variable, with longer droughts and more intense floods. Temperatures are rising, stressing cold water species. Glaciers feeding rivers are disappearing. These changes require adaptive strategies. Water storage must account for more variability, perhaps through distributed small storages rather than fewer large dams. Flood management must accommodate bigger floods, giving rivers room to spread rather than only heightening levees. Infrastructure must be more resilient, designed to fail gracefully rather than catastrophically. Agricultural water use must become more efficient and flexible, able to adjust to availability. Urban development must stop encroaching on floodplains, recognizing that those areas will flood. Natural systems, wetlands, floodplains, riparian forests must be restored because they provide resilience, buffering extremes. These adaptations challenge status quo and vested interests, but delaying makes changes more expensive and disruptive later. Forward-thinking communities are already adapting, making their rivers and themselves more resilient to uncertain futures. International cooperation manages rivers crossing borders. Over 260 river basins cross national boundaries, serving about 40% of the world's population. This creates challenges and necessitates cooperation. Upstream countries can dam, divert, or pollute rivers, affecting downstream countries who may have little recourse. Without agreements, conflicts arise. Some predict future wars over water rights. But rivers also create opportunities for cooperation. Shared waterways require dialogue and compromise, building relationships that can extend to other issues. Treaties establish frameworks for sharing water, notifying neighbors of major projects, and maintaining minimum flows. The Mekong River Commission coordinates management among Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia. The Nile Basin Initiative brings together countries from the White and Blue Nile basins. These arrangements aren't perfect and often favor powerful nations, but they provide mechanisms for resolving disputes peacefully. Some see international river management as model for broader environmental cooperation, showing that shared interests can overcome national differences. As climate change stresses water resources, these cooperative frameworks will become even more important. Rivers connecting countries can be sources of conflict or bridges to cooperation. The choice is ours. The future of rivers. Some rivers may vanish entirely without conservation action. The threats facing rivers are severe enough that some may disappear within our lifetimes. The Colorado River already runs dry in some years before reaching the sea. The Yellow River in China has had periods of not reaching the ocean. The Jordan River is a fraction of its former self. These are not minor streams, but major rivers that have sustained civilizations. Their loss would be catastrophic, both ecologically and humanly. Smaller rivers and streams face even greater risks, dried by groundwater pumping, drained for development, or so polluted they're effectively dead. Each lost river means lost species, many found nowhere else. Lost ecosystems that provided services, and lost cultural heritage. Some indigenous peoples have identities deeply tied to particular rivers, If those rivers disappear, something irreplaceable is gone. But this future isn't inevitable. Rivers can be saved through protection, restoration, and sustainable management. It requires choosing to leave water in rivers, restricting pollution, removing unnecessary dams, protecting watersheds, and valuing rivers for more than commodities they provide. The question is whether we will make those choices in time, whether we value rivers enough to change how we treat them. Restoration shows rivers can recover with help. Despite challenges, there are success stories. Rivers written off as dead have come back. The Thames, the Rhine, the Cuyahoga, all once horribly polluted, now support fish and recreation. Salmon have returned to rivers where they were locally extinct. Dams have been removed, and rivers have quickly responded, flushing sediment, cutting new channels, and attracting wildlife. These recoveries show rivers' resilience, their ability to heal if given opportunity. Restoration isn't returning to some pristine past, which may be impossible or even undesirable. It's about improving function and health, supporting diverse native species, providing services people need, and creating systems sustainable long-term. Successful restoration requires multiple approaches: improving water quality, restoring physical habitat, reconnecting fragmented sections, managing flows to mimic natural patterns, and controlling invasive species. It takes time, often decades, and requires sustained commitment. But the results can be remarkable. Areas that were ecological deserts transform into vibrant ecosystems. Communities that had ignored degraded rivers rediscover them as amenities. These successes provide hope and models, showing that our relationship with rivers can change, that we can be healers rather than just users. Young people are leading efforts to protect rivers. Increasingly, youth are stepping forward as river advocates. Students organize river cleanups, removing trash that degrades habitats. Young activists protest damaging projects, demanding their governments prioritize environmental health. Teenage scientists conduct water quality research, presenting findings to decision makers. Social media campaigns by young people raise awareness, going viral and forcing attention to neglected issues. This energy and passion are vital. Young people have most at stake. They'll inherit whatever condition we leave rivers in, and they're least invested in status quo. They can ask uncomfortable questions and demand better. Many adults involved in river conservation credit youthful experiences, a special river from childhood, for their careers. Today's young river advocates are tomorrow's scientists, policymakers, and voters who will determine rivers' fates. Supporting and amplifying their voices strengthens conservation. It also educates a generation in civic engagement, showing that individuals can make differences, that organizing and advocating create change. Rivers provide focus for broader lessons about environmentalism, justice, and responsibility to future generations. In teaching young people to care for rivers, we're teaching them to care for the world. Traditional practices hold lessons for sustainable management. Indigenous and traditional communities have managed rivers sustainably for millennia. Their practices evolved through generations of observation, developed without modern science, but often aligned with ecological principles scientists now confirm. Rotational use allowed recovery periods. Seasonal restrictions protected spawning fish. Sacred sites discouraged overuse. Integration of spiritual and practical meant rivers were valued beyond utilitarian terms. These approaches are increasingly recognized as valuable, complementing rather than contradicting scientific management. Traditional knowledge fills gaps, providing observations, stretching back generations, noting changes, and understanding relationships that short-term studies miss. Incorporating traditional practices requires genuine respect, listening to indigenous voices rather than simply extracting knowledge. It means sharing power, acknowledging that indigenous peoples often have rights to manage rivers in their territories. It means supporting cultural practices like subsistence fishing that depend on healthy rivers. The combination of traditional knowledge and modern science creates richer understanding than either alone. As we seek sustainable relationships with rivers, learning from those who achieved sustainability historically makes sense. Rivers have supported humans for thousands of years. They can continue if we manage them wisely, and wisdom comes from multiple sources. The river's final journey. Every river eventually reaches the sea or vanishes into desert. No matter how long the journey, every river seeks its ending. Most reach the ocean. After traveling perhaps thousands of miles, the fresh water finally mingles with salt. That mixing zone, the estuary, is a special place, neither river nor sea but both. It's incredibly productive. Nutrients from the river feeding marine life, creating nurseries for fish and shellfish. Other rivers empty into inland seas or great lakes, their journey ending in still waters. Some rivers in arid regions never reach any sea. They flow into desert basins, spreading into wetlands, or evaporating into salt flats. The Okavango in Botswana creates an inland delta in the Kalahari Desert, a vast wetland supporting immense wildlife. These endorheic rivers, ending internally rather than reaching the ocean, follow different rules but are no less vital. Whatever the destination, rivers transform along their journey. The clear, cold trickle at the headwaters becomes a broad, slow, warm flow at the mouth. The water carries stories, particles of mountains it eroded, nutrients from forests it passed through, history of landscapes it traversed. In reaching the sea, the river completes its part of Earth's water cycle, ready to begin again. Deltas are among Earth's most fertile and valuable ecosystems. Where rivers meet the sea, their sediment settles, building land. Over centuries, deltas grow, fingers of land extending into water, channels weaving through. These deltaic landscapes are dynamic, constantly reworking themselves. They're also incredibly fertile, supplied with nutrients and water, perfect for agriculture. Rice grows in delta paddies, feeding billions. Deltas are biodiversity hotspots. Their mix of fresh and salt water creating unique habitats. Millions of people live in deltas, from the Ganges Brahmaputra in Bangladesh to the Nile in Egypt to the Mississippi in Louisiana. But deltas are threatened. Dams trap sediment upstream, starving deltas of the material that builds and maintains them. As sediment supply drops, deltas subside, sinking under their own weight and the extraction of groundwater and oil. Rising sea levels, accelerated by climate change, push salt water further inland. Storms erode delta edges. The result is that deltas worldwide are shrinking, losing land to the sea. This threatens the millions who live there, destroys ecosystems, and eliminates productive agricultural land. Protecting deltas requires restoring sediment supply, managing subsidence, and helping communities adapt to changing conditions. Some areas may need to be abandoned, a difficult reality that requires planning and resources to relocate people humanely. The water cycle ensures rivers will flow again. When river water reaches the ocean, its journey isn't over, just transformed. The sun warms the surface, evaporating water molecules. They rise into the atmosphere, forming clouds. Winds carry these clouds over land. When conditions are right, the water falls as rain or snow. Some soaks into soil, feeding plants or percolating into aquifers. Some runs off, trickling into streams, which join creeks, which feed rivers. The cycle completes, and a new journey begins. This hydrologic cycle has operated for billions of years. As long as Earth has had water, the same water cycles endlessly, through rivers, oceans, atmosphere, ground. A drop that fell as rain today might have flowed in an ancient river, been drunk by a dinosaur, frozen in a glacier, and now courses through a modern river. Water is eternal. Its form changes, but its substance remains. Rivers are temporary manifestations of this cycle, channels for water's return journey from land to sea. As long as sun shines and rain falls, rivers will flow. They're not separate from the cycle, but essential parts of it. Gravity's pathways, returning water home so the cycle can continue. Rivers connect us to the planet's living systems. Rivers are not isolated features but threads in Earth's web of life. They connect mountains to oceans, forests to estuaries, glaciers to deltas. They transport materials and organisms, linking ecosystems across vast distances. Nutrients eroded from mountains feed fish in the ocean. Salmon born in streams swim to the sea, then return, carrying ocean nutrients back to forests. Seeds float downstream, colonizing new areas. Birds follow river corridors during migration, using them as highways. Rivers connect us too, to water sources far away, to communities upstream and downstream, to ecosystems we never see but depend on. They connect present to past and future, flowing through landscapes shaped by ancient rivers, carrying water toward futures unknown. Understanding these connections is essential. Seeing rivers as isolated allows us to damage one part without recognizing effects elsewhere. Seeing them as connected systems reveals that everything we do matters, that protection must be comprehensive, that river health is ultimately planetary health. We're part of these connections, dependent on rivers for water, food, energy, beauty, and meaning. Our fates and rivers' fates are intertwined. Protecting them protects ourselves. Rivers teach patience and the power of persistence. There's a lesson in how rivers work. They don't force their way through obstacles with sudden violence, though they can when necessary. Mostly, they persist, flowing continuously, wearing away resistance grain by grain. Over time, this patient persistence accomplishes the impossible, cutting through mountains, carving canyons, moving continents. The Grand Canyon wasn't created in a day, but over millions of years of steady flow. This is how rivers teach us. Big changes come from sustained effort over time. You can't see progress day to day, but across years and lifetimes, transformation happens. Rivers also teach adaptation, flexibility. When they encounter obstacles, they flow around them, finding new paths. They don't fight what they cannot change, but work with what is. Yet they never stop moving, never give up their journey toward the sea. These lessons apply to human challenges. Persistence and adaptation together create change. Environmental problems feel overwhelming, but patient, sustained effort, working with natural systems rather than against them, learning and adjusting as we go. This is how progress happens. Rivers have been shaping Earth for billions of years. They'll continue long after we're gone. What we can do is work with them, learning from their example, protecting and restoring where possible, living more gently and wisely along their banks. Rivers witness the passage of time in ways we cannot. If you could ask a river what it's seen, what stories might it tell? A river that's flowed for millions of years has witnessed unimaginable change. It's seen continents drift, mountains rise and erode, climate shift from tropical to Arctic and back. It's watched species evolve, thrive, and go extinct. It carried the waters that dinosaurs drank, it flowed past the emergence of the first humans. It's been there for the entire story of civilization, watching empires rise along its banks and crumble back into sediment. Individual rivers outlive everything. Forests grow and burn, cities are built and abandoned, but the river keeps flowing. This deep time perspective is humbling. Our lives are brief flickers against the river's eternal flow, yet we have outsized impact. In just a few generations, we've altered rivers more than millions of years of natural processes. We've dammed, diverted, polluted, and straightened them. Some might never recover, but we can also heal, restore, and protect. The river will outlast us, but what condition we leave it in is our choice. This responsibility to something so much older and greater than ourselves is profound. Rivers connect us to time itself, to the deep past and far future, reminding us that we're temporary custodians, not owners. Every drop of water in a river has its own journey. Consider a single drop of water. Maybe it fell as rain on a distant mountain weeks ago. It soaked into soil, percolated through rock, emerged at a spring. It joined a tiny stream, merged with others, grew into a river. Along the way, it's been part of countless microenvironments. It's carried dissolved minerals, perhaps hosting microorganisms. It's been drunk by insects, fish, birds, mammals. It's evaporated and condensed and fallen again. It's frozen and thawed. It's tumbled through rapids, rested in quiet pools, flowed swift and slow. This drop will reach the ocean, evaporate, rise into clouds, travel thousands of miles, and fall again somewhere completely different. It might fall in the same watershed and rejoin the same river, or it might fall in a desert and evaporate without ever reaching a stream. Each drop's journey is unique, but part of the collective flow. All the individual journeys combine into the river, the great conveyor carrying water, nutrients, sediment, life itself from land to sea. We're like drops in that river, individual but part of something much larger, following our own paths that merge with others, contributing to a flow that's greater than any of us alone. Rivers show us that impermanence and continuity can coexist. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus famously observed that you can never step in the same river twice. The river is always changing. The water you stepped in is gone downstream. New water has taken its place. The river, in that sense, is never the same from moment to moment. Yet there's continuity too. The river is still there, following its channel, flowing to the sea. It's still the Mississippi, the Ganges, whatever river it is, recognizably itself, despite constant change. This paradox, that something can be constantly changing, yet remain itself, is profound. It applies to everything, ourselves included. Our bodies replace cells constantly. We're literally not the same physical beings we were years ago. Our thoughts and feelings shift moment to moment, yet we maintain identity, continuity through change. Rivers teach us to embrace this, to accept impermanence while finding constancy. Nothing stays the same, and that's okay. Flow and change are natural, even necessary. Trying to freeze things in place, to stop rivers from moving, or ourselves from changing, goes against nature. Better to flow, to adapt, to find our identity not in static permanence, but in continuous, connected being. The sound of rivers has comforted humans since the beginning. Think about how long humans have lived near rivers. Our earliest ancestors gathered at water sources. The sound of flowing water has been our companion for hundreds of thousands of years. It's been the background to countless lives, the last sound heard before sleep, the first upon waking. It's witnessed every human emotion, joy and sorrow, celebration and mourning. Babies have been lulled to sleep by river sounds. Lovers have shared intimate moments beside flowing water. The dying have been comforted by familiar currents. This long association has perhaps shaped us, made us respond to river sounds at a deep, unconscious level. When we hear flowing water, something ancient in us recognizes safety, abundance, home. This is why river sounds soothe us, why they help us sleep, why they calm anxiety. They connect us to something older than individual memory, to collective human experience stretching back to our origins. In our modern world of artificial sounds and constant stimulation, rivers offer something our ancestors knew, a natural rhythm that matches something in ourselves, a voice that speaks to our deepest nature. Rivers will flow long after we are gone. When you think about your own impermanence, it can be comforting or sad or simply strange, but there's something oddly reassuring about rivers. They were here before you. They'll be here after you. The river outside your window, or the one you visited as a child, or the one you've never seen but know exists, will continue flowing. Spring rains will fill it. Summer will warm it. Autumn leaves will float on its surface. Winter will still it, with ice or not, depending on the climate. Fish will swim in it. Birds will hunt along it. The river doesn't need us. It will go on. There's comfort in that, in knowing that something continues, that the world doesn't end with us. It puts our concerns in perspective. The worries that loom large shrink a bit against the river's timeless flow. And there's responsibility too. We want that river to be healthy when it outlives us. We want others to experience what we experienced, the beauty, the peace, the connection. Our actions now determine the river's future. Will we leave it cleaner or dirtier, fuller or emptier, alive with fish or devoid of life? This is our choice and our legacy. Long after we're forgotten, the river will remember, carrying forward the consequences of what we did or failed to do. Let the river carry you now into rest. As you lie here, breathing slowly, feeling your body relax, imagine the river flowing through your mind. See it winding through peaceful landscapes, past quiet forests and sunlit meadows. Hear its gentle murmur, a constant soft sound that drowns out all else. Feel its cool presence, soothing and calm. Picture yourself floating in safe, warm water, held by gentle current. You're not swimming or struggling, just floating, letting the river carry you. The water supports your weight. You trust it completely. There's nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. The river knows where it's going. It's been making this journey forever. It will carry you safely. Close your eyes if they're not already closed. Breathe with the rhythm of flowing water, in and out, like waves lapping at the shore. Feel tension draining away, flowing out of your muscles, carried downstream and away. Your thoughts are slowing, becoming quiet like a river pool, still and clear. The river flows on in darkness and in light, through all seasons, never stopping, always patient. Be like the river now. Flow into sleep. Let go. Drift. Rest. The river will be there when you wake, still flowing, still singing its ancient song. But for now, let it carry you into dreams, into the deep, quiet places where rivers run through darkness, peaceful and eternal. Good night. Sleep well.